dudes.
Hey. All right, so everyone say hello to MajinPhil.
Wow, this looks really nice. I'm impressed.
Oh man, I should have stopped like a few seconds here.
I have the stream up and I just saw the thing for the first time, the layout. It actually looks really good.
All right, fam. Sorry about the wait. Now, last thing I gotta do is I gotta switch over to you know, I love the tradition here. I'm supposed to go to the podcast directory, but fuck that. I go to the game that is being featured today. So
technically, is Mario Maker, so you can just leave it.
All right, so let's see. We're doing title of the stream is Inside the Speedrunner, episode 5. It's already been half a year. Or is it 4?
Is it 5 or 4?
Is it 4?
I don't remember.
Wait. Brooklyn, Dance of Auto, Linkus? Was Linkus number 3? Okay, I think it's number 4. Never mind. I think I can't count. Either I just forgot someone entirely and I feel really bad about who I just left off the list, or this is number 4. Pretty confident it's number 4. Lower fill by 20%. Okay, hang on, how do I do that again? Okay, here we go. Lower fill by 20%, and then raise me by 10%. Okay, there. That should have fixed it now. All right. Right. Episode 4 with MajinPhil. All right, there we go. And bam, we're gonna tags. We got Speedrun. We got podcast. I'm not even trying to tag them. Stupid. Okay, whatever. All right, so update. All right. Whew, man. Okay. And with that, fam, we're gonna fire up here in 3. Actually, are you ready yet? Are you like ready?
I've been ready for years.
Oh,
I've never been more ready.
All right, dude. Well, 3, 2, 1. Let's begin. And we're gonna casually enjoy your minty hot fresh Majora's Mask 100% run, and what is it again? The exact time here?
So I beat it in 4:44:47. Everyone got mad at me because I should have got 4:44:44.
Oh, dude, like, the mythical, the planets aligning, yeah.
5 4s, yeah.
Oh,
Being guess number 4.
That would have been hot. Well, yeah. Welcome to Inside the Speedrunner, y'all. Episode 4 here. Today I have MajinPhil, who is a prolific Majora's Mask 100% category speedrunner. You're not as active on any percent, is that correct? You're mainly
not for a couple of years now, actually, since like 2017.
Ah, okay, yeah. So known for 100% speedrunning Majora's Mask, which from my understanding here, and I'm gonna give you my entire. I know very very little about the game because I've not gotten around to playing it yet, but I am gonna play it soon. Trademark. But all I know about Majora's Mask here is that it's a long category. You're about at 5 hours. You're a little under, but it's I'm just gonna paraphrase this 5 hours here. It's a pretty long speed run with a crap load of frame perfect tricks in it. Is that correct?
Yeah, it has a bunch of frame perfect tricks throughout it, but it's pretty manageable. We'll get into it a little bit more. Like, there's a lot of things you can do to make frame perfect stuff consistent in this game. The main reason for it is because of pause buffering. So like you can always get a certain frame and then do an input on that specific frame, which makes things a lot more consistent. If you want to do things unbuffered, then that's where it gets a little bit tricky, because obviously like you have to practice and get really consistent at timing and stuff. But the game also runs at 20 FPS, so it's like basically a PowerPoint presentation. So like if you have a lot of lag, it's pretty easy to do things unbuffered.
Okay. So yeah, my entire context here is that Majora's Mask is it's very stressful because you're under some kind of like timer that I don't quite know the plot to currently. Lots of frame perfect tricks that are valuable because you're skipping cutscenes via the frame perfect tricks. Is that correct?
Some of it is cutscene skips, and some of it is tricks that like let you get stuff in a way that you're not supposed to, like opening a chest that's like surrounded by a flame or something. Like you can do a frame perfect trick to like open it with the flame still there, but it requires like a perfect A press on the chest to open it. So like a lot of like this game doesn't have cutscene skips or like you can't just like press start like in a lot of other games. You know how like traditionally in certain games you can just like press A and it'll skip a cutscene?
Yeah.
So like in this game, all the cutscene skips actually require like a trick or skill. And so I think it's really interesting that like you have to do certain inputs in order to like get the cutscene to like skip and save the time. And they make a big difference. You save so much time throughout this run with cutscene skips.
Okay. I'm trying to think of where to take this right now. So what I've explained so far is literally all about Majora's Mask. So I'm kind of hoping in the first hour here we just kind of like bust the lid wide open. You tell me all about, I guess, like why Majora's Mask? Let's start with there. Why what drew you to why did you speedrun this game and not become another OOT junkie like everyone else?
Believe it or not, it was I started when I first found speedrunning, it was 2012. So I've been around speedrunning for quite a while now, but I didn't actually try it for my first time until like 2013, like near the end of 2013. I was like, all right, fine, I'll give it a shot. I actually used to be really into Street Fighter. I used to play a lot of Street Fighter 4 when it was hype. But when I found speedrunning, I thought it was cool because, you know, it's a way of playing a game with like infinite replay value. So all those games that you used to play that are just collecting dust on your shelf, now all of a sudden can be played over and over again in a completely different dynamic. And so the thing with speedrunning specifically for Majora's Mask was the bomb hovering, believe it or not. Of all the things that could have made me want to speedrun OOT, I liked bomb hovering the most in Majora's Mask because you know, when you from an aesthetic appeal, when you look at OOT, like most people are familiar with Ocarina of Time, you know, like ZFG put the game on the map and like you're seeing all this stuff with like 100% OOT, sub 4 hype, whatever. And from the casual perspective, when you look at the two games, they look very similar because they run on the same engine. They use a lot of similar things, but from a speedrun component, they're completely different. And a lot of the things that make certain tricks work in one game are done with different inputs on the other game. So like bomb hovering is a great example of that because in OOT, a bomb when it explodes, it has an expanding blast radius. Like it gets bigger and bigger. And in MM, when a bomb explodes, it has a 2-frame thing where it's already at its max radius explosion. And so the way a bomb hover works in both of the games is it combines infinite sword glitch, which is a glitch that lets you like obviously infinitely swing your sword. And when you're swinging your sword in the game, there is you can't fall off an edge. Like that's how it works. So since your sword is infinitely swinging, you never fall off an edge. And so when you shield any damage component, in this case it would be a bomb, the game thinks you're on a pixel of ground, and so you're always standing on that pixel of ground and you never fall because your sword is infinitely swinging. So in OOT, a bomb hover takes a lot of precise timing because of the expanding blast radius. For you to shield the bomb explosion, it has to be at a specific time when the blast radius is at a certain size for you to get that hover. But in MM, since the explosion is one size, it doesn't matter when you jump and shield the backflip to get a hover. It just happens no matter where you do it, as long as you just shield. So it makes bomb hovering much easier in MM. They're actually like free as hell in MM. Whereas in OOT, they actually are one of the more complicated tricks. You see them way less.
Dang, okay.
Yeah, it's
well,
kind of
well.
technical,
You already blew out
cool.
one major assumption I had here. I thought all the OOT and MM stuff were the same. It was just more of the circumstances in which you had to do them was different. But okay,
completely different.
Completely different.
Not to mention that in OOT you actually have to learn how to do it as a child and adult. The physics between the two are completely different. Whereas in MM it's just one.
Oh, okay. Dang. Okay. All right. So So that was already a lot I didn't even know about right there in the first place. So just to recap, then the reason why you were captivated further by Majora over Ocarina of Time was because the bomb hovering was different?
Right. So the first time I ever dabbed into speedrunning, I freaking went to my buddy's house and I sat there for like 5 hours trying to skip Door of Time. I saw a video of the Door of Time skip and I was like completely mind blown. I was like, damn it, I wish I knew this like 15 years ago. I didn't know how to beat Jabu's belly or whatever. I was like, would have saved me a headache and a half. So I finally landed it, and then I found Enop's stream, believe it or not, on Speedruns Live. And I was like, oh, this guy's doing the other one. Let's see what this one's all about. And when he was doing bomb hovers like for free, I was like, wow, this looks so much easier. And so when I tried doing MM's bomb hovers and I could do them like literally within 10 minutes of trying, I was like, okay, I'm speedrunning this one. Forget it. Like I literally just decided, screw OT. I'm
captivated by the
The bomb hover literally changed my life. I was like, oh my god, this is so much easier. Like, forget it.
I love that reason because you were captivated by the tech and I guess the swag of pulling off the tech. That's kind of how I felt about Yoshi's Island when I saw you can catch the eggs. I was like, oh, you can fire the eggs and catch them? Oh shit, yo. That's high.
It's little things like that like really, you know, they make you want to like get better and stuff because you already have like a good footing.
Okay. So in the beginning, were you doing any percent when you were first speedrunning Majora's Mask, and then you like tell me about the come up here. How did you? I feel like you didn't hop into 100% right away. You kind of like built up to that. So can you tell us a little bit about how you started in your humble beginnings of speedrunning Majora and how you escalated it further into 100%?
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. So a video I definitely recommend everybody checks out if you're interested in Majora's Mask history at all is there's a world record progression video for any percent that just came out. It's on YouTube. It's by my buddy Kyle, Full Grown Gaming. And it's like a 40-50 minute video on, it's basically like Summoning Salt's video if you're familiar with like his world record progression stuff. But it's really well put together, and a lot of the stuff that you see in the video goes through the different routes that I actually ran throughout the time that I was speedrunning from 2013 till, you know, I finished running any percent back in 2017. And so when I first founded my channel, I started doing it on the side. Like I was just, you know, I was working a job. I was working as a bookkeeper actually. And I was doing speedruns just for fun when I got home for a couple hours, and I was doing any percent. And back then, any percent was stupid difficult because, I mean, you said you never played the game, but there's a part of the game called Stone Tower. And Stone Tower, it was known as like the most notorious run killing area of the entire run because it takes place at the very end, and there's a lot of lag. So it makes all the tricks different timings because you have to like time things. And you have to basically be careful with the lag. You have to like incorporate the lag into the timing of the tricks and stuff. And so the run was really complicated, and it definitely had a big barrier to entry because a lot of people were intimidated with the style of the run. And so that's the route I ran for like probably the first 5 or 6 months that I speedran MM. But then ZFG did a run at AGDQ 2014 of this route, and no joke, like 2 days later a glitch was found that's let you skip hitting owl statues. So if you're not familiar with the game, there's these owl statues, and they're basically like a warping system in the game so that you don't have to walk everywhere because it's a pretty big overworld. So all you really have to do is you hit an owl statue, and then if you play the Song of Soaring, you can choose a location that you want to travel to as long as you've activated that statue. So the way they make it is that you have to hit the owl statue for you to be able to use it. But the glitch that was discovered lets you use all those owl statues without ever going there in the first place. So you could go anywhere. And it let you sequence break the entire game. So one of the most convenient things was there was an owl statue at the very top of the Stone Tower. And so you didn't have to climb it anymore. You literally just go like you soar to the top of the Stone Tower, and then you could just enter the temple and finish the temple. And it made the run like, oh my god, like so much easier. Everyone was like, wow, this is so easy. Like let's just all run MM any percent now. And so that trick is still used today, believe it or not, in almost every single route. And the interesting thing about it is that it allowed any percent to flourish for a number of years because any percent was being pushed to its very limit. This trick saved like 5-6 minutes, and you know, every single time I'd get a personal best and I was like, oh crap, I'm reaching like the best possible time that I could probably get with my own skill, a new trick kept being found on top of this massive one. And so there was always something to do. And so that lasted for a good like 3 or 4 years until like 2017, towards the end of 2017. And I was finally able to get my time down to at that time it was 1 hour, 25 minutes and 42 seconds, which was, I think, second place at the time, just behind Enop, who had a 124. And that route, like that trick with that route lasted for a while. It was pretty solidified. Everything was pretty quiet until late 2017 when another trick was found. And so, yeah, I basically, the TLDR was I did any percent for all that time just because new tech was being found constantly. And so It wasn't until it finally settled down that I was like, all right, maybe I should finally learn the other big category, which was 100%. But like I fell in love with this category, and I've just been doing it ever since.
Now, okay, so you fell in love. Here's the part I found interesting here. You said you fell in love with 100% whenever you did progress towards playing it. There was not initial rejection to it. Like you were into it like right away. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. This category is so special. It's unbelievable. It's literally.
So then, okay, and then let me pivot that to the next question here, which is, I feel like most runners would be intimidated by a 5 hour, because you're 449. Is that which game this running? I'm sorry, was it a?
You're watching. So I'm running against my 449, but 444 is what I ended up in this one.
Gotcha. Like, being a top caliber, you get a 444. When you're starting off, you're probably going in the 5.5s, if not almost the 6s, probably in the very beginning. How are you
actually?
Oh, go ahead. What about it?
So I know where you're going with this question. So basically, when I first started 100%, this wasn't even the route that was ran. This route, since I started running 100%, like 40 minutes has been shaved off of this run. Like in time saves, not even in skill, just in like tricks have been saved. It's wild, and that's over the course of like 2-3 years. And so, what's interesting about that is, the route that I first started running on for this was much more difficult. And I believe my first run was 6 hours and 18 minutes, something like I think 6:18 or 6:19.
Gotcha.
So now, looking at it now, going from 6:18 to 4:44, it's a big change.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Holy shit. Okay, so yeah, I guess the question there was like, you were not intimidated by it. You were not intimidated by having a run that was, at that time 6 hours long. 6 hours plus.
Actually, no, it was intimidating. When you've never done a long speed run like that. Like, what's the longest speed run you've ever done? Yoshi Hundo?
There's a Yoshi ROM hack that was like, at its worst, 4.5 hours long of very little downtime though. There was like, the most I had was the 30-second cutscene where the fortress blows up. So it was a pretty exhausting 4.5 hours. Back in when was it? In 2015. That was like early 2015, I want to say.
Did you find that like towards the end, like how long did you run it for?
A solid 3 months, 3 or 4 months.
3 months. So maybe by like month 2 or 3, did you notice you became like much more comfortable with the length?
I noticed I had this. Well, actually, in the beginning, I never had to do a run where I had to like really push myself to stretch regularly. I had to like get up and actually stretch every time I had a cutscene. Like I had to like, or else I was starting to feel like lower back pain trying to do like 2 runs a day. Which,
wow.
Yeah. So that was getting pretty draining pretty quickly. I was getting more consistent. I was actually learning all the speedrunner tropes though. Like I in Yoshi's Island, because it's so much shorter by comparison, I would reset if I got like a really bad death that cost me like a minute, and I was like going to be in like deep red for like majority of the run, which would have left me like really tilted because I couldn't handle the pressure of having bad splits all the time. But here, it was like, if I mess up an hour into the run, I got 3 hours to go. I'm not even halfway done with the run. It's not really worth it to reset. So I had to really accept that I would have late recoveries in my runs. I was going to have, crappy splits the first 2 worlds and clean up big time in the second half of the game.
That's and I definitely empathize with that, because it's not just the fact that like, oh, okay, so the run is longer, which means you have more room for error because there's more time save available throughout the run. But it's also because you have, if you start over, that's like you're automatically doing an extremely long stream if you're streaming, or especially if the run goes the distance, right? And so that's a big factor too. It's like, oh, I've been streaming 4 hours, I can't just reset or like start over.
Absolutely that. No, you're right. That is exactly what it was. I have to it's kind of the gift and curse, because I had to like build up to wanting to do the Yoshi ROM hack run, and like I kind of wanted to like open up with like some Step Mania or like, I don't know, something to get me pumped up to like get into it, because I have to play like, I need to like play meticulous and particular, I guess, and not like just go in like full throttle, or else I'm gonna play too anxious and too eager and too risky. I need to play more consistent and conservative, I guess. So
Yeah,
I kind of want to like, get myself hyped up and leveled out a little bit beforehand. But you go too long on that, you eat too much of the dessert, and it's already been 4 hours, and you still got to do like I still want to crank out 2 of these 4.5 hour runs. Yikes. and then I'm trying to get some reset time there too. It's like, yikes, dude, I gotta plan out a little bit better than that, actually. So I had to learn discipline amongst many other things doing a longer run. So
when you do a long run, no reset runs become your best friend, like they really do. Like you just have to accept it, because otherwise there goes half your day. Like, see you later.
Now here's my question for you though. When you're doing these longer runs and you have like, there's gonna be a point where you're like, you're gonna have like a banger opener. I don't know, the first hour or the first 20 minutes of splits are going to be like all like really, really, really good. And my question to you is like, do you ever find that the beginning splits are like kind of like too calibrated to like your peak play, because you're going to obviously like have a better beginning with these longer runs with as much opportunities?
So going back to the original thing, like before I answer that, I definitely play better in the beginning, because my by hour 3 my brain goes into like meltdown catastrophe mode. Because it's really, I think, the hardest thing of the run, to be honest, now that I've done it for so long, nothing in the run is like exceedingly difficult. It's not like, oh my god, impossibly hard trick. It's mostly I think the hardest thing is the endurance, the mental game. That's the hardest thing, because the first 2-3 hours your composure's there, you're comfy, you're awake, you're alert. But it's so mentally draining by like hour 3 or 4. The tricks aren't, if anything, it gets easier. Like the end of the run isn't even that difficult. If you really break it down, a lot of the tricks are very, very simple. But it's doing it under nerves, like being nervous if you're on a good run, nerves make everything impossible, honestly. Like it makes it so hard. But not just that, it's the fact that like you're just also so tired. So you're very prone to making a careless mistake and just screwing up and killing it, right?
Correct.
So
you know what? Actually, I apologize here. I was thinking of what run. While I'm bringing up a very dated example of the Yoshi ROM hack, I should bring up right now Yoshi Crafted World. That's literally a game right now. It's got me like, it's so long. I say
how long's it run?
It's 3 hours. Well, it was 3.5 hours at first, but I've gotten it down to it's around the 3 hour 5 minute mark currently. But it's like 7 out of the 40 levels are auto scrollers, and like all the only levels where I really mess up are the final 3, because like just so much crap gets thrown at you the final part of the game, and the game is particularly brutal and unforgiving, because if you get hit at a certain, I'm trying to think of, the final 3 levels are all on a kind of like a global cycle. So if you miss one thing, the whole cycles are all thrown off now, and you have to like, you're gonna lose like over a minute and a half if you mess anything up.
Wow, short. So it's snowball effects. Like it's one mistake.
Oh, dude, like... it's so dumb. And you get, I get really tilted, and it's like, it's easy to lose 5 minutes in the last 3 levels.
That's another thing. It's really hard to recover from tilt, and in a you can't reset. So I noticed tilt definitely carries forward too. That also has a snowball effect. Like if you make one little mistake that costs you 30 seconds, and even if you have minutes to save after, you still just screw everything up.
No, you're completely right. There's a very vicious cycle that I can think of where you make the mistake, and then you're stuck thinking about the mistake you made and not playing forward, not thinking in advance about what you have to execute at following that. You're stuck dwelling on the past rather than focusing on the present and planning for the future, right?
Yeah.
And you have to let that go and get over it, kind of. But then what happens now is you're like, I'm thinking of opportunity cost. I'm like, man, dude, I'm an hour and a half into this run, dude. I'm like almost halfway through the run right now. If I just like, and you're thinking about like what you could be doing with your time instead or whatever, and then finally you're just like, where's it going with this now? You're trying to recover, and you become desperate almost. You're like desperate for a time gain. So then I do some unpracticed, unrehearsed, YOLO risky shit, hoping to get a desperate green split going or whatever. And it's like dude, speed run attempts are not the time to experiment and try out things you're not familiar with. So I go for this like dumbass 1% execution trick that's gonna save me some time. Of course I fail it, and then what happens? I'm mad at myself for the minute lost a minute ago, and I'm mad at myself right now for being stubborn and boneheaded. So
I know that feeling. You're like, all right, I don't care about this bullshit. I don't even care. Like whatever, and then it just fails, and you just like feels bad. Why did I even do that?
Instant regret, dude. Yeah. So tilt can lead to that. That path's never a winning path, y'all. Never do it. Never ever do it.
if we get back into frame perfect tricks, I'll talk to you about a trick that can literally, it's frame perfect and it can kill a run in one if you miss it.
But what's the reward though if you get it?
15 seconds.
is that epic in proportion to the trick itself, or like not really?
No, if you're in a good run, no amount of balls are gonna make you try it.
Are there a lot of those moments in this game where there's like, there are some sick time saves, but they're not worth the risk at all? Actually, let's talk about that. Actually, what are the give me the risk reward breakdown here in some of these tricks in Majora's Mask.
So, okay, so we could talk about the frame perfect one. Also, by the way, just real quick on the was I intimidated about the 100% run? Yeah. The way I first tackled, just in general, the way I first tackled a long speed run, if you ever, for anyone that wants to get into a really long category, and there's obviously way longer ones, like Majora's Mask 100% isn't even like considered long compared to something like Final Fantasy or whatever. But like, the best thing to do is to do individual levels, break each part of the run down into its own speed run. So what I did was I took all the temples and I learned those temples as their own by themselves, like just one speed run of Stone Tower, one speed run of Great Bay, one speed run of this, whatever. And then once you start putting the route together, instead of getting stuck on a temple and having to have this overwhelming, oh crap, I have to learn a whole freaking temple, you just add it into your routing, and it's much easier that way because you've already done, you know what to do inside that. So it's less overwhelming that way. You're just kind of putting a puzzle together, right? So that's my approach in personally, but I mean, there's many ways you could go about it.
No, I did the same thing as you're seeing right now. I did I would dub them second half speed runs, or or as you're saying here, you break it down to segments to get the practice in. No, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that definitely takes because it's like, how do you memorize all that stuff and whatever? But you'd be surprised. Like, I mean, for sure, like how it comes naturally. Like you just kind of remember stuff because you're like, oh, I've been here. I know what to do in this part. I know what to do in this part. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, absolutely that. And if you do like, per segment, or in this case, I guess we'll call it per temple. If you do like per temple practice breakdown, and then when you assemble all the pieces together into one, Frankenstein run of execution testing, really, and if you are good at the execution, to a certain degree, the real test then becomes mindset, because it doesn't matter how often, you nail, I guess I don't know what the equivalent here would be, but, let's just call it water temple. You can nail, water temple difficulty because you've practiced water temple, for a week straight or whatever, but you're never going to be used to being ahead on your splits on a PB or even world record pace. You have to acquire that through repetition. You have to repetitively get on that pace to then gain the ability to have composure when you're at peak performance. You got to lose some runs on PB pace in order to have the composure when you are on PB pace, Would you agree with that, or you find it's a different thing for you?
I think it might have been Worcester who said this, but I can't. Don't quote me on that one. But I think he said that it takes like 100 runs of that caliber on being nervous and world record pace and stuff before you actually get it, because your composure's just not there. Like you can have all those runs, but you're just not gonna execute it because you're too nervous. You need to practice the nerves.
Yeah, no, that sounds something he would say, and I completely agree with that too. I think one time he was speedrunning, don't quote me which game it was, honestly. It might have been some Pokemon game, but he was like, it might have been some run on Stadium 2, and he was like, yeah, I got dicked by X train or whatever, but another 50 runs I'll be better at it. And I was just like, damn, man, just casual, so he doesn't expect shit until run 51 minimum, That's like,
yeah,
which to be honest is a really, really good attitude to have, have no expectations, and then you'll be surprised pleasantly when you get a good run,
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, I can't tell you how many times when I was running any that I was on world record pace, but I just didn't get it because I wasn't ready, Like when you get to the end, you're just like shaking.
Oh yeah, dude, knees weak, arms are heavy, vomit on the sweater, the whole thing, dude. It's like
literally everywhere.
You know what I really hate too is whenever you're on a run of that caliber, and like, I don't know, you make your first mistake or whatever, or like, you just blatantly get like a disgustingly bad split that like you lose a bunch of time on, and it's like the high wears off. You blatantly feel the adrenaline waning down, and now you feel your hands kind of slowing down to like regular human level again. You no longer feel like inhuman, where you're just like you're so tight that you can do anything at any time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like y'all, for speed running, when you're on the run, like the adrenaline is like flowing through your veins. You feel like you're Ultra Instinct Goku. I don't know.
I like that feeling though. I get it. It's such a rush. Like
Oh God, it is.
it makes it worth it, man. Like on that being like everything's on the line during that run, you know. Like it's great. But going back to those frame perfect tricks, so
Yeah.
some of them. So I was talking about how some of them are pause buffered, and you can actually, you know, make them consistent that way. And so obviously, the less pauses you do, the more time you save, and you can choose how risk reward you want to go about that. Like, do you want to use 5 pauses? Do you want to do it in 1 pause? Do you want to be stupid and do it unbuffered? Right?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of those frame perfect tricks are definitely cutscene skips. So like things like at the beginning, like the HMS Happy Mask Salesman skip, which is a cutscene that takes place before you enter Clocktown, is usually something that takes about 40 seconds, but you can skip it by pause buffering frame perfectly through the loading zone of that cutscene trigger into the loading zone to Clocktown, and it takes you can do it in 10 seconds now with 10 pause buffers. And so if you get really good at building a rhythm, those cutscene skips become really simple because you just do the rhythm and that becomes a muscle memory. And so the consistency gets built like that. But other frame perfect tricks, like for example, there's a glitch that was found in 2017. It's actually famous for being found in OOT first, and then we just messed around in OOT, and turns out they work in MM, and they work in both games. It was really great. That was just, oh, it works in both of them. Cool. So we started taking advantage of that, and so the glitch is called equip swapping. It's a glitch that lets you duplicate an item on your pause menu by creating a second copy of it, but it equips it to a different item slot. So for example, let's say on the pause menu, you've got the bow, the hook shot, the bombs, bomb choose, whatever, right? On that menu screen. And so let's say you want to equip swap, a bottle with an item in it, and you need a second bottle with a second of that item. So in this case, a Zora egg would be great because you could make infinite Zora eggs using this equip swap technique. And so you wouldn't have to get all 7 Zora eggs, which is an essential thing. Instead of doing that, you just get 1 Zora egg and you copy it 6 times and then dump the original.
Right.
And so it's incredible. But the way the trick works is it's a frame perfect input on the pause menu to create a duplicate. So you can't pause buffer it because it's on the pause menu.
Oh shit! Okay, I should have realized that sooner. Okay, yeah. Now,
so
is this currently done in the run right now, or is that like this is like a hypothetical? Or
no, this is done. So in 100%, we use equip swapping in, I believe it's 4 different scenarios. And 2 of them I'm going to go into detail in just a minute. So the first one is the Zora eggs. Actually, 5 different scenarios. The first one's the Zora egg. So you get a Zora egg and then you copy it 6 times to get the new wave Bossa Nova. And that saves having to run around Pirate's Fortress and Pinnacle Rock. You just get a single one and then leave. And that saves a ton of time. The second one is you do it on a bottled fish. So you can get the fish heart piece, which is right next to where you get new wave Bossa Nova. There's a tank and you have to drop these fish in. And the first fish there's 2 fish in it, and if you get a fish to eat 4 little ones, it spits out a heart piece. And so you just have to, in the old route, you had to go and get 4 individual fish and drop them in, and then you could do it, and you can get the heart piece. But now you just get a single fish and then copy it 4 times to a different item slot, and it'll give you the heart piece without having to get more than 1. And it's actually an RNG component thing. Sometimes it takes more than 4. So in the old route, if you had 4 and you didn't get perfect luck, you took 2-minute time loss to go get a 5th fish. Now you just copy it as many times as you have to. Worst case scenario, you lose like 30 seconds from copying it a couple extra times. But the trickiest one is there's a glitch called item recovery, which is a more complex version of the same thing, which is equip swap. So in the game, there is these specific side quests. In particular, the couples mask. Are you familiar with that at all?
No, again, I know nothing about the game, so it's kind of where you get to carry and really break it down.
Okay, so I'm gonna make it really, really simple to understand. So basically, the most famous thing about MM is the 3-day cycle thing with the moon crashing, 72 hours remain, right? Blah, blah, dawn on the first day. And so the whole premise behind that is that you're basically replaying the same 3 days over and over again, and you use Song of Time when you get to the end of day 3 so that you can redo those first 3 days and complete everything you have to without the moon crashing. But the gimmick is that everything you do in the run that isn't a key thing, like collecting a map, like if it's just like doing in-game quest stuff, gets reset to day 1 because you haven't completed it. The game makes it so that, oh, if you did this on day 2 but you play Song of Time, because it's day 1 again, you never actually did that. So any quest that you perform in the game, you have to complete before you reset time to day 1 again. Right. That's basically how it works. So one of the most complicated quests in the whole game is the couples mask. And so in the game, there's these masks that you have to collect. And if you get all the masks, you get a special mask at the end. It makes the final boss free as hell. And the couples mask is a mask that takes a bunch of steps to get throughout the 3-day period. And one of the things you have to get is this letter. And in Clocktown, which is that central town in the game, you have to deposit the letter into a mailbox. And then that triggers a different sequence later on the second day. So you deposit the letter on the first day, and then on day 2, it triggers an event that happens that you can use to progress in that specific quest. So the letter can be used for more than one thing. You can get a heart piece by giving the letter to this thing in the one of the buildings in Clocktown. But you can also use the letter to advance in this 3-day quest thing. So there's 2 purposes for this piece of paper that you receive. But the thing about it is, if you use it on one thing, normally you wouldn't be able to use it on the other thing, right? It makes sense. So right. Equip swap comes in very handy because you can duplicate the letter, right? That's it, ipso facto. So basically, the problem with it is, if you try and duplicate the letter and then give the letter to one of those 2 things, it deletes both of the letters. So you can't do that. But if you do the trick before, so like let's say if you set it up, like there's a setup for the trick, and if you do the trick after you've deposited the letter and you get it on the right frame, you get a second letter. So you can actually do that. You can duplicate it if you have to do it in the proper order. The problem is that once you give the letter away, the item disappears. So you don't have a second chance at trying the trick. Whereas if you're trying to duplicate a bottle, you can just try it over and over until you get it. But on this one, if the item is gone and you miss it, you can't try it again because there's no item. So it's really weird because it's a frame perfect trick on the pause menu that you can't pause. And if you miss it, it costs you, you do it twice in the run. If you miss it the first time, it loses a minute. If you miss it a second time, on the second one, it loses a minute 30. So it's pretty brutal. And it's just something that literally some runners have stopped playing the game because of it. They don't even want to do runs.
So the current meta right now with speedrunning Majora's Mask 100%, you have to nail that trick. And if you don't nail it, the run's dead. Is that? Or
yeah. So the backup. So there's obviously a backup for it, and I'm running this at GDQ next month. So I gotta I'm gonna hope I nail this trick. Jesus Christ! But the backup is you have to get another piece of paper to fulfill both objectives, right? You'd have to get a second piece of paper to get whatever you didn't do on the first one. And so if you do it the risky way, the one that saves 15 seconds, that's frame perfect, your run's dead. There's no the second piece of paper doesn't work for the other objective. You're basically, there's objective 1 and objective 2, which one is the quest and one is the heart piece. And so if you give the letter that you receive for that thing for the heart piece, the second letter doesn't fulfill the quest. But if you give the first one, vice versa, for the quest, the second one gets the heart piece, but it's a little bit slower. So it's kind of scary, but and they happen within like 2. The first one takes place at the hour 30 mark in the run, and the second one takes place around like almost the 3.5 hour mark. So it's pretty far in.
Yikes, dude.
It's taken a lot of mental prep to be able to do it.
Yeah. All right, so let's break that one down because it's the one I actually want to focus on for a second here. So when the trick was discovered initially, were you like hyped to push the standards further and try to make this part of the run, or did like someone else? Because I feel like this doesn't happen overnight, right? Tricks like that are like, okay, this is task only, or this is like the risk reward ratio here is way too bonkers to make it in a real time run. How did it actually get integrated into the route, or are just all of you Majora's Mask runners crazy and say, fuck it, I want this in the run right now? I have a need for speed.
So the way you do the trick is you have to you put the cursor on the pause menu on the item you want to duplicate, and then you tab to the right side, which is the map menu. So you know how there's like different menus on the pause menu?
Right, yeah, it moves the screen.
Yeah, it moves the screen. So you move to the right, and then all you got to do is you tab back to the menu with the items, and while it's transitioning back to that other menu, you have to press the input for that item on this exact frame for it to equip the item a second time. And so it's literally you have to do it's a rhythm. It's exactly like the pause buffers for the HMS, except in a different way. It's a rhythm. You have to build a specific muscle memory that just becomes second nature to you when you're trying to do it. And so when the trick first came out, I degened it so hard, bro. I did like 4 to 5 hours of this trick just like, while hanging. I was just like putting up streams and hanging out, and I had the game on, and I was just doing it over and over and over and over until I was able to get it like 30 to 40 times in a row, consistent. Like I was nailing this trick, and I was like, holy crap! Like I can do this in a run for sure. And so now all I do is, if I'm on a ridiculously good run, I'll do the safe version of the frame perfect so that I can, like go for the minute time loss backup if I have to. But if I'm on a really bad run, I'll just like risk the entire run on the frame perfect that can kill it, because I want that extra 15 seconds and I'm not nervous. And being nervous makes that trick literally impossible. So
100% that. Like I bring this up every episode of Inside the Speedrunner, but listen, y'all, mentality is at least half the battle. If you approach any kind of hard trick and you don't believe you can nail it, you already lost.
Yeah.
You got to have confidence. That's the whole point of the practice here. You got to have confidence in your execution to ever have the possibility of success in the first place. I do believe that wholeheartedly. So
yeah, I honestly sometimes think it's more than 50%. I think it's like,
you're right. No, I was being conservative
so
there. I would agree with that actually as well. I would if I had to bullshit you a number, I'd call it like 75-25, because you're not going to believe unless you were able to actually get it, so
I would have PB'd weeks ago if I didn't have emotions.
Dude, you sound like me right now. I'm like, man, if I could just like fail and take in all the positive of failing and none of the negative where I have to like mentally recover again to like want to put myself through the boxing ring of emotions that is, a run that, can get it but doesn't get it but almost got it but could get it if I did better. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god. I get it for sure.
Is it fair to say here that, oh my god, what is going on this run right now?
I put this during all the cutscenes, everyone always gets sad, and I'm just like, no, dude. That's hilarious. I totally didn't realize I was gonna play. That's awesome.
Give me your 1% take here on this one. Is ZFG a phenomenal runner because he's a robot? The man that
ZFG
lacks emotion can just like take Zelda and run and never feel a thing. I think happy ZFG, sad ZFG, angry ZFG. It's all this just it's a flat line pretty much.
How many years have you been watching ZFG?
Oh, since like 2012. I don't know, since he started streaming pretty much.
And how many times have you seen him get mad?
Never. In fact, yeah, no. Chat, like his chat atmosphere is so like meme. I don't even know. I don't even call it meme because that sounds like crude. No, it's just great. I don't know. It's like I go in his chat and it's just they're just happy that Dad's home streaming. Ocarina of Time.
He just never gets. He never gets upset when he loses a run. Chat gets more upset than he does.
Yeah, that's why I go.
Yeah, and so I think that's why he's so good, because he doesn't get emotionally invested in any run.
The run and the runner are separate, and that's
completely separate.
That's the best mentality to have, like, because if you're an FGC person, if you're like a Smash player or like a Street Fighter player, you don't let that one loss, be tethered to your self-worth, or else you're gonna be a wreck. You're not gonna be able to perform well in tournaments. There is no comeback factor when you have those kind of emotions tethered to your performance altogether. So
yeah, your emotions will dictate your play style, and so I think he just does a very, very good job at not letting that get the best of him, and that's why he plays so good in the late game. Like he doesn't, and he has years of experience like that, right? So that coupled with the fact that he's developed that skill of disconnecting himself completely makes him so consistent and so good at improving his time. And so it's a really difficult skill to get good at doing. Like I've been like, okay, I've literally said this out loud on stream to myself. Like I've been on a good run and be like, all right, I don't care about this run. Like I'm gonna psych myself into I'm gonna like completely force myself into not caring if the run dies, whatever. It's too good to be true run, like whatever, right? But it's so hard. It's so difficult.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's much harder said than done.
Well, thank you. You gave us a really good breakdown of like that risk to reward factor that comes into Majora's Mask running. You kind of touched on it a little bit here earlier. You said that there was like a trick. Any kind of trick around Stone Tower has got like a lot of lag and it's like really annoying. So I kind of want to take a second to pivot back here into version differences. Like I know that in OT there's a lot going on between like N64 versus Wii Virtual Console. Are there any such complications in Majora's Mask? Does everyone agree on one version, or do you do?
Yeah, there is actually. So, believe it or not, so in OT, the difference between them is mainly there's like the N64 1.0, and then there's the VC 1.2. Those are like or 1.1. I mean OT. Okay, wait, no, let me start again. On N64, people play on 1.0/1.1, but on VC, people play on 1.2. So there's like, and I think 1.1 to 1.2 has very few differences, but don't quote me on that. I'm not an OT guy. So the difference between that and MM though, in general, is just that the main difference comes from which language you play on. The Japanese version and the English version are very different in MM. Whereas in OT, the English and Japanese are the same. It's what version you're playing on that's different. So
what you're implying here is that the Japanese version has like exclusive glitches that were perhaps patched in the English release. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, actually, that's exactly right, because the JP version came out months before the English version, and I guess they patched a few things.
Okay.
For the NA release, but the interesting thing about that was any percent was ran on Japanese for almost the entire time that I ran the category. And 100% was actually ran on English. It was faster on English for a large portion of time, because they each have their own advantages and disadvantages. And so it wasn't until like last year actually where it flipped. Now 100% is done on Japanese because of an exclusive trick, and any percent is done on English because there was this equip swap thing was found, and it actually ended up making it better for English. So it's really cool.
Damn.
How they did a flip.
You never hear of the later, not even English, just the later release of a game. Basically the patch version of the game being the one that can come back and be the faster one.
So the reason so if you want to talk about that quick minute, the English,
sure.
The any percent, the reason it changed in any percent was because the Japanese version was actually faster because that route used to get the hook shot. And so the hook shot is in the Pirate's Fortress, and if you played OT, it's like the Gerudos, like where you can't get caught by being seen. You have to like be careful that you don't get caught and thrown in or kicked out, right? So for whatever reason, everyone thought for the longest time that at nighttime the pirates had worse vision on Japanese. And so the room with the hookshot has a guard right in front of the door when you enter. And so what you're supposed to normally do is you're supposed to go into this other area and shoot a beehive in the hookshot room that clears the room out so that you can get the item. But in the Japanese version, if you enter at nighttime into that room and you do a side hop right as you enter, the pirate doesn't see you, and you can go around the pirate and just get the hookshot from that room without having to go into the other one. You just shoot the beehive from within the room. It saves like going all the way around. It's kind of weird, but actually, like not even a month ago, it's actually really funny. It was found out that they don't have poorer vision at nighttime, but the pirate on the Japanese version at nighttime, for whatever reason, is standing like 2 pixels back from its daytime position. And so it makes that the little difference is what makes
you're just out of the cone trigger for
yeah
but it looks so the same funny. It's so minute you wouldn't even know without measuring it.
You wouldn't some guy like went and freaking looked at the positioning of the pirate and noticed it, and it was like it was believed that it was the night vision for like ever. It was so funny. But That's what made JP faster. But now that the English version has evolved so much, we actually don't even use the hook shot in this newest route. It's completely skipped, and so Pirate's Fortress is not even visited in the entire run, and so that advantage completely disappeared. And now the biggest advantage is this thing called the Snowhead Owl Hess. And so if you're not familiar with a Hess, it's called it stands for Hyper Extended Super Slide. It's what you see ZFG doing whenever he's sliding all over the place in OOT. So you can do them in MM as well. They're just a little harder to do.
Is that thing where you're like moonwalking backwards with the camera reversed?
Yeah, backward moonwalk style. Yeah, exactly. And so one of the key differences between JP and MM is when you... So remember how I said when you get Infinite Sword Glitch, as long as your sword is swinging, you can't fall off an edge?
Right.
So the super slide all the way from Snowhead Owl into the temple is this gigantic path. If you watch Pope Squidward's any percent run from the past GDQ, you'll actually see he does it first try in the run. It's so hype. But the cool thing about it is that you use that slide with Infinite Sword Glitch so that if you get knocked, there's like wind blowing in that area, and if you get pushed towards an edge, the Infinite Sword Glitch prevents you from flying off the edge. You just get stuck on the edge. But on Japanese, if you get stuck on an edge, you lose all your speed, so the slide doesn't go further. But on English, for whatever reason, you keep the speed, and so you can just keep getting stuck and then continue the slide after the wind dies down. It comes in intervals.
Now the wind random?
There's 3 different wind speeds. They come at random. Yeah.
Oh god. Okay. And, wow. That's pretty good.
So I actually recommend you watch that sometime. It's insane if you've never seen a Snowhead Owl Hess. It's as crazy as it sounds.
No, don't worry. I do feel bad that I'm doing this right now because I would have so much more to add. But you get to teach me the joys of Majora's Mask. But I will be playing Majora's Mask eventually.
Dude, I'm gonna watch the entire thing. I love watching. Believe it or not, I actually love watching play casual Mask. It's like really fun.
No, honestly it's very similar to why Dark Souls streams are so popular on Twitch. It's everyone getting nostalgic from and reminiscing on their first playthrough, and it's you reminiscing back on you're so far at distance now from casually playing the game because you've been speedrunning for so long that it's like a whole new joy to see that someone else go through the whole thing.
I just like seeing people. I like seeing people's thought process. Like you see how people think to solve the problems. And I like that about it.
Absolutely, that. Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so you elaborate on me here that English has some exclusive stuff to it. It was patched, but due to some random bonker stuff, it kind of changed what's the popular version to use on whatever category it may be. But I don't know if I really caught an elaboration here on whether or not are both categories being played on Wii VC or
yeah. So I forgot to mention that. So they're everyone Universal console as of right now. So when Wii U VC came out, everyone was like, oh shit, it might be faster. But it turns out that Wii U VC actually ended up being really bad because it has a ton of input delay and it makes it almost unplayable and blah blah blah. So nope, everyone still plays on Wii VC. You could play on N64, but it's so much laggier, you lose a ton of time. And it's not like, so a lot of people, that's the big difference. In OOT, N64 was version 1.0, and so it had a lot of advantages because 1.0 made it fast enough that it compensated for the slower hardware of the N64.
Right.
Whereas MM doesn't have that. It's just if you play on N64, you're playing the exact same version, and you're just losing a ton of time to lag and slower loading and all that crap.
Okay. Now, actually, we're at a very particular point here now because I can say now in 2019 that the Wii Shop is dead. So so now it's like if you want to. So hypothetically here, if I wanted to get into competitive Majora's Mask speedrunning and I wanted to acquire the Wii Virtual Console edition of Majora's Mask, I couldn't, right? I'd have to already find a Wii that's preloaded and pre-bought with Majora's Mask off the Wii Shop.
Oh, by the way, I'm doing the frame perfect trick right now. This Postman heart piece. Mm-hmm. This is like a famous thing. I'm gonna answer that question in a second.
No, please commentate on. I'd love to hear more about this.
Okay, so this one's interesting. So look what I'm doing right now. I'm counting the triangles that spin around the Postman. You see the targeting thing? Mm-hmm, I just got 10.00. So pause the video for a second. I'm gonna explain this. So basically, this is the most infamous part of the entire run. I'm not, in my opinion. Can you rewind it back to the start of this little section? I think it's like just like
when you enter the door
seconds or something. Yeah, entering the door. So it's become a fat meme in chat and stuff, and for everyone that runs this category about the postman, because it's actually a bugged thing that doesn't always work. It's not even like guaranteed. So I'm gonna play it again. So pause the timer right as I enter the door. Yeah, so pause right here.
I'm a little bit late. I'm sorry. Okay, I see now. Okay, I'm back. Okay.
No, you're good. You're good.
All
So
right.
so pause it right here. Okay, beautiful. So this part right here, you get a heart piece for it. So in 100%, you have to get all the heart pieces. So you have to do this part, and the heart piece, you get it from the postman if you can stop the timer on 10.00. So it's to the nearest hundredth of a second, and so the problem with it is that the game runs at 20 FPS, but the timer runs at 60 FPS, 3 times faster. And so you see the problem there? For every input frame, for every visual frame that you can press a button, there's 3 input frames that can per each one.
Right.
So
you could be off cycle and make it literally impossible to get 10 even.
It's literally impossible, yeah. So if you get 10.00, the same frame that gives you a 10.00, which is a frame perfect pause or frame perfect A press, can actually get you also a 9.99 or a 10.01. So you could play it properly and still lose because the game just didn't give you the 0 on the 100th of a second. And so it's so bullshit. I literally called a split rip run for like a year.
Oh god. Now let me ask this. Okay, so wait. So you tell me that you get the heart if you do 10 flat. What's the actual game? This sounds really absurd for it being a native game intended thing. Like, what are you supposed to actually do in the game?
It's so stupid. You have to get the bunny hood, and if you get the bunny hood, you can see the timer while you play the game. But like, it doesn't even matter because seeing the timer and trying to stop on 100th of a second is literally like going to Dave
so
and
it's
Buster's
still that hard.
You know? Yeah, it's like a Dave and Buster's minigame.
Oh
it's
my
like
God.
you're going there and trying to get the right time. You know what I mean?
So
And
runs here died often because just fucking
yeah.
hell.
So usually I try to get it within 4 or 5 tries, and if not, like just kill the run. It takes place within the first hour, so it's not all bad. But like, it's a pretty bullshit trick.
51 minutes in, you're getting to this shit. Oh my,
bro, it's
dude.
So play the video. Watch this.
Okay, all right.
So this actually ended up being perfect to showcase because you can see exactly how this went down. So we go in, I do a special setup so I can see the postman, and then it just so happens that if you count 19 triangles from on top of the postman heart piece, so you can see, watch this. So it turned around, I couldn't see it, but I'm counting 19 triangles, and the 19th triangle on the top of his head is exactly the frame. So you have to get good at timing the visual cue.
Gotcha.
And
okay.
if I stop it, I got 10.01 there. I literally got it, but I got screwed because it didn't favor me on a 0. It gave me a 1. So I'm doing it again now. So I'm counting 19 triangles. And
10.0.
And I freaking nailed it. Right on the money. So second try is like huge pog. Like whenever you get it the first 3 tries, it's amazing because the run is alive and healthy. So it's pretty crazy. Sometimes I've had like 25th try postman heart piece, and it's just like it's like Dampe at that point for OT, like something stupid. Yeah, so it's really, really funny how that works. On English though, so the big kicker is on English they patched it, and now you only have to get it to the nearest 10th of a second.
Wow.
So it's free. You literally can just get it first try every time. It's not even hard. There's like a gigantic 3-4 frame window that you can hit it on. No problem. So a lot of people play it on English just to not have that bullshit.
Of course, yeah.
It's really funny.
Well, we should got a visual cue. It's it's still the three time window. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, the old route used to do that trick 3 hours in.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's cancer route, bro. It was so bad. It was so bad.
See, and this is actually what I expected to talk to you about. I was expecting you to tell me the breakdown of how many obnoxious tricks are in such a long run, and I was wondering, how do you keep your sanity?
Oh my god.
And now I've heard the first one that makes you really want to just like yank your hair out or something like that.
Yeah, dude, it's brutal. So Yeah, I thought that one was definitely worth mentioning because we just got to it in the run, and so
No,
it definitely falls into the category of bullshit frame perfect tricks that don't even work.
Okay, so then now let's bring it back to this whole accessibility thing.
Yeah,
because now that was a new problem.
Yeah.
The Wii Shop channel, well, the Wii was very conveniently unplanned, a very accessible console for speedrunning. A lot of speed games were just like the best version, the fastest version, I don't know, or whatever was on the Wii VC, and it was very easy to acquire copies. It made I do remember the woes of Ocarina of Time runners trying to find a JP 1.0 Ocarina of Time cart, and then Virtual Console came out and changed the whole game or whatever, right? And that made it like super easy. There was longer this obnoxious paywall to get like a Japanese N64, to get a Japanese copy of 1.0 of OOT, which you really didn't even know until you had to buy multiple copies to figure out and then test them if they were 1.0 or not. It wasn't like it was an obvious thing on the eBay listings when we were trying to get it. And then finally, the digital distribution made it very easy to get on the Japanese Wii Shop channel. But now that we've lost that luxury, how hard is it going to be now for people to get a copy if they wanted to run it, in your opinion?
No, it's a fantastic question. Basically, with the Wii Shop being down, you can't just buy the game anymore. And so, I did this from the very beginning, but what most people do is they do this thing called soft modding your Wii. Have you ever heard of that? It's where you get homebrew channel on your Wii.
Yeah.
So it honestly makes the Wii like infinitely better. It's like the most ultimate console with the soft modding,
because you can homebrew is awesome as long as you legally own all the copies of games you're making copies of right now.
Exactly. So I actually own 2 copies of MM. So put it this way, homebrew channel is like Cydia installer for iPhone. It has all the good stuff, but you have to basically jailbreak your Wii. So one of the things you can do, and it's what we have now in our Discord server for the MM speedrunning, is we have a resources section with information on how to get that done and to install a copy of MM onto your Wii if you want to take the game seriously. For a very long time, and I honestly wholeheartedly believe this, as long as you own a legit copy of the game, I really like emulators because it makes speedrunning very, very accessible to people. Because you don't have to spend tons of money and heaps of money to try it out for your first time. And I think that if you use an emulator at first, just to see if you like how it is, and then you want to take that next step to try it a little more seriously and be competitive, at least you're going to want to do that, because to spend that kind of money and to get all the stuff and then, not like it, especially with how complicated it is to like set it up. Like that's the one thing I don't like about MM, is that it is a pain in the butt now to get the games installed on your Wii Virtual Console and everything, with the Wii Shop being down and stuff. Not to mention that if you want to get the Japanese version, it has to be a region unlocked Wii, so you could play Japanese versions and everything.
Yeah.
So it's not just a North American game. You have to play the JP game and stuff. So that's definitely a barrier to entry for sure. But I think the emulators really help with people choosing or not whether they want to take that extra step. And then the Discord server has a big resource, channel on how to do that, all that stuff. It's really easy to do if you take the time to do it, but it's a pain.
Okay. Well, thanks for the elaboration. And yeah, it is getting scary, man. These digital game preservations are pretty weak, and that does worry me going forward. I did have one more elephant in the room here, which was that so you talked about Virtual Console, you talked about 64, but I heard crickets about 3DS. Is Majora's Mask 3DS not even relevant on the scene at this point, or like what's your take there?
No, okay. There's a little handful of people of runners that play the 3DS version. I never owned a 3DS. So I never actually played the game myself. And not to mention streaming with a 3DS capture card is kind of annoying. You have to it's so expensive to get one.
You're not wrong.
And
it is.
And I for me to buy one of those just to play a single game wasn't justified, so I never ended up doing it. But the 3DS version is a completely different beast. Like it's got completely different tricks that we don't do in this one. And I didn't really, I watched a lot of playthroughs online on Twitch of the 3DS version, and believe it or not, the MM 100% on the regular, like the one I do, doesn't have any wrong warps in the entire run. That's the difference between OT and MM, is the runs don't have wrong warps. But they have on the 3DS version multiple ROMs, which is really interesting. How like the second version that came out.
So
uses
3DS
ROM
is
warps.
more broken. Is that what you're getting at right now?
3DS I think might be more broken. Yeah. With
Oh.
the ROM warping. It's pretty wild, dude. It's pretty crazy.
Oh man,
It
didn't see that coming.
You basically use there's this item called hot spring water that has an internal timer, and so when you keep hot spring water, it basically what it does is after an X amount of time, I think it's like 30-40 seconds, don't actually know, maybe somebody in chat knows, but the hot spring water becomes regular spring water. So if you want to use it, you have to do it quickly before it cools down. You can bottle dupe an item. So if you go to your menu and you bottle dupe your item into a different item slot and put a bottle, let's say, over a mask item, so you can transform your mask into a bottle with a glitch, and then you get hot spring water in that bottle, which is not a normal bottle, it gives the game all these weird properties. Like you wrong warp places if you put the hot spring water in a bottle over the Gibdo mask slot, which is one of the masks. So people started going nuts. They started copying bottles on all the different things and trying to like get hot spring water and seeing what the results were. And it totally broke the game. Like people found really good wrong warps to temples, to like different parts of the game, like pretty crazy stuff. But from a casual perspective, I really found it, strange what they did. A lot of the things are weird. So in the regular version, Zora, you could swim full speed without using magic. But in the 3DS version, you have to use magic to swim full speed. So there's
it's movement nerfs.
It's the dumbest nerf ever. It's literally the stupidest nerf ever. The Deku spins have no momentum at all, so you can't even do the stuff in the swamp like normally. You have to do like cool side hops to like get the speed to cross the lily pads in the swamp because the Deku can't be in water, so you have to like use them as platforms.
Okay, all right. I need you. All right, pause right here, because all right. So there was a nerf to movement in the release of the game. That's a pretty big thing for me to have to swallow, right? So I need you to fill me in right now on a game developer's perspective here. Why would they feel compelled to do that? What happens?
I don't know. I have no idea why. The Zora in the normal. So like for example, beaver race. You have to like race this beaver in this course, and you have to swim through these rings. And if you get to the end of the course, you get a reward. And in the regular version, it's just the course. But on the 3DS version, they throw pots of magic throughout the entire thing so that you can constantly be swimming full speed, because if you run out, you can't finish it. It's like, it's so stupid, man. I don't know why. And I've seen many times people run out of magic and they're just like, slowly swimming everywhere. Just in the middle of the gigantic thing of water. And it's like, it was a bad idea. Yes. And it sucks because 2 out of the 4 transformations got nerfed. So I don't get why. It's kind of like the Skyward Sword thing. Yeah, where like you know how like you have to get those fruits to like constantly replenish your stamina?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah. But I think honestly
whereas
the main reason for it.
Whereas before you didn't have stamina to even worry about in the previous Zelda game. So it's a nerf
Yeah, but to answer your question, I think the main reason they did it was they want to make it similar to Goron. Whereas the Goron can go full speed rolling if you have magic. You can get the spike roll and it's really fast. And so I think they were like, oh, well, the Goron uses magic to go really fast. We should make that the same for Zora. So I guess that was their logic behind that. But it was a terrible choice because it didn't... Water in video games is always a big yikes, right? So like... Mm-hmm. I don't know. They shouldn't have done that for water. On land, it's fine, I guess, because there's things you can do around that. But... yeah, I don't know. The 3DS version's weird. Also, the bosses, they tried to make the bosses more difficult, and so they added these weird eyeballs. If you ever take the time to see it, each boss has this huge freaking eyeball on it that you have to expose and damage, and it's so weird, man. The twin mold fight is like... the twin mold fight is literally like playing Donkey Kong. Like, you like become Donkey Kong, and you like pick up the thing from the tail and swing it around, and it's like Mario 64. It's like So Long Gay Bowser. Like, it's so weird, dude.
It's So Long Gay Bowser,
bro. Oh my god, watch a video of the twin mold fight on 3DS whenever you have 10 minutes. Like, you're gonna be like,
I have an evil idea right now. So what is the sub goal for you to say yes to me mailing you my 3DS capture and you hopping on the 3DS Majora Mask blunt and
Oh my
smoking some
God.
dank memes, fam. Like, what's the sub
On it-
goal? All right, okay. So have you ever played it before, or you just only seen?
Never. I've never
Okay,
done.
okay.
I've never done it.
All right. What's the sub goal for me to mail you my capture card? All you gotta do is get a copy of Majora's Mask 3DS, and you smoke some dank memes on this 100% playthrough. and then you gotta do at least one run. You do 100% playthrough, and you gotta do like one run, and then you can retire forever. Go on, man. You're too.
I have to do a speed run of it too.
I mean, what, you got a blue ball? You're loving subs. I'm a sub right now. What's up? I'm asking you. Look, I'm saying you got a price. What's the price?
I'll do it at 2,500. I'll do it at 2,500 subs.
All right, you heard it there, boys. Clip it.
I'll do it.
Man said 25.
I'll do it.
2,500.
I'll do it for you.
I get to mail him my 3DS capture. All I have to do is get a copy of Majora's 3DS, and then
I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. Nobody else could have convinced me. You're literally you're the only human being on the planet I would ever do that.
Oh my God.
Oh,
yeah, you're really it's got you that salty, dude. Oh man,
bro. Oh my, it's only funny when it happens to somebody else. Yeah, okay.
Dude, I'm just trying to think here of the equivalent here of like what have I been put through? People have like, I feel like the answer right now, honestly, is Yoshi Crafted World. That game is like, people have been up my ass since day one. Like, people were so mad I didn't play I didn't speedrun Yoshi's Woolly World like full throttle, and I'm like, y'all just assume that Yoshi's Woolly World, the one for Wii U in 2015, is anything like Yoshi's Story, a great game, Yoshi's Island, a great game. It's not, dude. It's like, it's just, I can't, like you said here, you are this butthurt about two forms having nerfed movement in a re-release. Imagine everything about Yoshi being nerfed by comparison. In Woolly World, you can't move while, like, the whole game is, make eggs and then shoot them. Like, you can't move while shooting eggs. I'll stop right there. Yeah, you have to, like, your momentum plummets to 0 when you make an egg, even in the air.
You don't even have to know.
Yeah,
you don't even have to play the game to know that.
Yeah, it's a drag, man. It's a drag. Everything, and in Crafted World, dude, forget. Like, you can aim backwards you can turn around and like aim backwards while moving forward in Yoshi's Island with like a 2-frame loss of movement. Like, the game is so minimal on lag for any kind of action, so you have a lot of options for movement. And Crafted World, dude, you have like 0 pivot potential. There's literally never a reason to ever turn around in that game. So it's very much just run to the right and very linear on problem solving. There's never a situation where you want to like be turning around and aiming an egg because your pivot momentum is 0.
It sucks because you can't. That actually limits your creativity too.
Exactly.
Because a lot of that game being creative.
Yeah. And then last small rant there on that front here is the fact that like eggs don't carry over between levels. So there's like if you're in a level with 6 eggs, the next level you go in with 0. So there's 0 egg planning. There's 0 egg routing. You were always low on eggs. No enemy respawn. You can't like it's just. So there are some ideas I had for cool egg shots or cool egg strats or cool egg bouncing things, but you're so strapped on resource that you have to pick between shooting an egg at something or doing an egg bounce. Where you fire the egg and you bounce off of it when it comes back towards you to give you a boost in height. Yeah, you have to pick between A or B. You rarely have enough eggs to do both A and B in a level. So just creativity and options for execution are dire in Crafted World. So and it's kind of the same in different ways for Woolly World. But yeah, people, just in case you're wondering here, how much ass does Majora's Mask 3DS suck, and are you being put through it? I have been put through the gauntlet. I'm currently going through it right now with Crafted World. I'm kind of getting over it at this point.
I like how you know my pain. You're like, yeah, how many subs?
Well, I want you to. You gotta give your boy something to look for. You gotta give him that fat sub goal. Let him know what's good.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. We'll have a good time.
See now they know though. Now they know if they tune into the podcast, and then they now know. Dad promises them that at 2,500, so it's going down. I can't wait, fam. I can't wait till it happens. It's gonna be sick, dude.
Dude, I'm gonna like tweet at you tomorrow and be like, I hate you. God. Be like, check this. You gotta send me the 3DS too. I don't have the 3DS.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, I got you.
I'll even send it back. I'll send it back to you too if you need it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just sitting in my closet now, getting all dusty. I actually bought it because I was it's a funny story. Minor tangent here. I bought it because I'm such a Paper Mario fanboy. I bought it just to stream Paper Mario Sticker Star for 3DS in 2012. I bought it just to stream that because I was so excited for that game. God, was I so let down, dude. I've never been that fanboyed that hard ever again. Like that disappointment there had me so down. I've never been that pre-hyped for a game ever again. I'm like, no, I can never. I was so let down, dude. Sticker Star really, yeah, dude. It's if you haven't played the Paper Mario, Sticker Star is a very. Ask anyone in chat, they'll tell you right now. That's. Ugh.
I only played. I never played 1,000 Year Door. I played the original 4.
Oh man, you gotta get on.
I never played.
Gotta get on. 1,000 Year Door is awesome. Really, really awesome.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about it. But
yeah, make sure you play
1,000
Year Door first. Then, like, I don't know. Honestly, I would tell you never play the Sticker Star because it's just gonna let you down. It's gonna make you so fucking mad, dude.
Damn. No, I'm not going to. But
it's pretty bad.
I don't know. I never got a 3DS. I never had the desire. There wasn't really any games that I was like, oh, this is worth buying a 3DS for.
That's fair. That's super fair. Again, Sticker Star is what got me to even dive into 3DS in the first place. I also was pretty patient on waiting for one as well. But this is the podcast about you and your game, so let me not derail any further here. So listen, we are now on. It's been 15 minutes past the first hour here. We're in the second hour of the podcast right now, and so far we focused the first hour on better understanding the stakes that go into speedrunning Majora's Mask, both with the category and the tricks that are in it throughout. But now I kind of want to bring it to a more emotional core, the psychology of speedrunning on the second half here. So I want to let MajinPhil kind of go in a little bit further on this whole thing here. So I got a couple of fastballs for you I want to get into with your perspective within speedrunning here. So the first one I want to get into here was I know particularly for you, you're a degenerate. You stream late. You are a late night streamer. You are rarely on in the daytime. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, I don't stream during the day.
So my question to you is, do you find being a nighttime streamer helps with speedrunning and or streaming, or do you find it's not really relevant here?
Okay, so just like typical schedule for me is like I'll start streaming sometimes 10:30, and then I'll go to bed around maybe 5 and wake up around 12, 1 o'clock. So I never see mornings. I usually wake up early afternoon, and then I have all afternoon and I start streaming. But I honestly have always been that way my whole life. Like I love that. I love the nighttime. I'm like a huge night owl for whatever reason. Like even when I was in college, everyone would always be like, "Hey man, do you want to go to the library and study?" And I'd be like, "No." And then I'd stay at home and I'd do all my work at nighttime. It was super peaceful and quiet, and I don't know. I just like, there's something about the night that I just like. I've always been that way. And so, naturally when I started speedrunning, obviously at the end of my day of work, like I'd do my bookkeeping stuff and then I'd come home, it'd already be nighttime. So it actually worked perfectly in that way. And then that cycle kind of just kept up the entire time. I just ended up becoming a night streamer in that way because the schedule worked around that,
Yeah. So all right, have you ever done any kind of control before where you try doing things in the daytime? Have you ever tried like quote unquote fixing your schedule to be a daytime streamer, or have you? Yeah,
I actually, I moved to. So do you know how I'm married to Tara now? Like we got married last month.
Congratulations, by the way. Actually, I was gonna get that to the very end of it, but let's get some claps in chat, boys. Congrats on the marriage.
Yeah, it feels married, man. And so when Tara and I first started dating back in 2015, we had to do this thing called common law sponsorship because she's American and I'm Canadian. So I had to sponsor her to get her papers here in Canada because she was going to move up here. And so the way that worked out was in order to sponsor her through a common law partnership, we had to live together for the period of 12 months. But there was a huge issue because me not being American and her not being Canadian, we could only stay in our respective countries for 6 months at a time, 180 days. And so it became really difficult because she had to spend part of that 1 year period of living together in Canada, and I had to spend part of it in the States. And so when I moved to Texas for that reason in, I think it was end of 2015 towards 2016, I ended up, living at her parents' house for the time, and I was streaming out of her dad's like office in his house. He had like an extra room and stuff, and that's where I set up my shit. And so because I wanted to make an effort to be, to get to know her family more and stuff, who obviously weren't night owls like me, I had to, kind of try streaming during the daytime so that I could spend a little more time with them, towards the end of the day and stuff when they would be at home and whatever, instead of working when they would be home and going to sleep, and then not seeing them because I'd be sleeping during the mornings and whatnot. So basically, that's when I tried doing a date. That's like the whole background context for that. I tried streaming during the day, and it was really weird. Like, not just because I wasn't used to it, because like I'd stream at night the entire time that I had streamed, but also because it was a different audience. Like, this is completely unrelated to speedrunning. This is just all Twitch related.
Yeah, you had to tone down the shit posting. You couldn't be as dank. The kids were awake now. Is that
the kids? It wasn't just that. It was also the fact that like all my viewers were night people, watched when I'd stream at nighttime, and when I was streaming during the day, it conflicted with all their watching schedules, and so they couldn't watch my stream anymore. So I'd have new people, and obviously less viewers and stuff because I didn't know, it wasn't my normal hour of stream. So I feel like it was really strange because my chat didn't feel like home to me. You know how like your chat feels like home, like it's like your boys, like you hang out, and it's like the people, it's like your regulars and the people you see on.
Yeah,
exactly. So I literally was like, I felt like a stranger in my own stream. It was so weird, man. Like I didn't recognize
when you feel like that. You gotta put yourself like in GDQ mode, where it's like I'm presenting everything as if everyone here is seeing it for the first time. So you gotta like super. You're not worried about doing like Phil commentary for your own chat, where you're shit posting in like I don't know whatevering. It's like it's you explaining everything about the run and why you're doing it for the run, comparatively.
Yeah, it was very very like non
formal, very formal.
Yeah, not very formal, exactly. So that was definitely a part of it, but it was also just the fact that I obviously took a viewer hit because people weren't used to that schedule. So a lot of my regulars were unsubbing because they couldn't watch me anymore.
Right.
And they also couldn't. It feels bad, man. And so I had DMs from people saying, "Hey, man, I respect your decision to stream during the day for your personal reasons, but I won't be able to continue subbing because I can't watch during the day and stuff." And I'd be like, "Oh, I totally get it. You don't have to blah blah blah." And then eventually I just realized that I'm just a nighttime streamer. Like that's what I've always been meant to do, is stream at nighttime. So I just ended up going back to the night shift after a couple weeks of day. And I tried it, man. Like I at least I tried it, and it wasn't for me. Like I just wasn't. I had already established my nighttime schedule and stuff, and I think at the very best, what I can do is I can maybe deviate 2 hours and start 2 hours earlier and 2 hours earlier type of thing,
Yeah, you heard it here, boys. Once you go into the Jin lifestyle, it sucks you in like a tentacle or like a monster. It just drags you to the back, and like. You're crawling on the floor closer and closer to that window with the daylight emitting through it, and you just back to the back of the room you come, and just that's.
But I'm very like I how a lot of people are like, oh, I gotta get that sunlight, vitamin D, so I don't get depressed type of thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm very mentally stable in that way. I'm very glad that I am, because that way nighttime streaming doesn't affect me in that regard. Like I enjoy, I don't if I stay up really really late and I see like a glimpse of sunlight in the morning, I don't get like sad like, oh crap, I stayed up all night type of thing. Like I'm pretty good with that. So okay. And waking up at 1 o'clock p.m. isn't that bad. You still get a lot of afternoon and daytime to do what you got to do on a day-to-day. Like that's, and I've never been, even during high school and like grade school, I hated mornings, man. I am not a morning person.
No, it sucks. Oh. I'm right there with you, bro. I would
yeah.
Oh man, dude, I was so obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh in like 2002, 2003 that like school was a giant filler. Dude. I get out of school and just like, fam, before speedrunning, my life was competitive Yu-Gi-Oh. I would just play Yu-Gi-Oh online until like from like 3 p.m. until I had to get off the computer at 9. Yu-Gi-Oh.
Damn, I wish I knew you back then. I loved Yu-Gi-Oh, dude. I played it all the time too.
I know. Well, it's never too late. Just did the, I don't know. Modern Yu-Gi-Oh now is.
Dude, forget it.
Okay, remind me when we're not pressed on time. We will come back to this conversation in the streams. I definitely want to talk to you about that, because maybe we can do some collab thing where you play like retro Yu-Gi-Oh.
I was playing Duel Links for a really long time actually last year. It's really fun. We should do it. I'll add you on my Duel Links.
Yeah, Duel Links is a different meta. I know it's because the life points are smaller. It's
actually better because since it's a 3x3 board, 3x2 board instead of a 5x2. The nice thing about it is a lot of unconventional cards become playable because of the 3x2. So like you can do cool strategies with different like styles of cards that you normally wouldn't be able to use in a 5x2. So I thought that was cool. But anyway.
Okay. So we covered that. My new topic here now I got for you is how do you approach practice versus runs? Because every runner here is different. So if you want to break down here, ratio of practice versus run attempts versus resetting. Like in your head, do you think 50%? Do you think 50-50? Do you do run attempts like? I don't know. Like, how do you? What goes in your head here? Do you have like a methodology to it at all, or is it kind of like how you're feeling that day?
It's actually weird. I don't really practice all that much anymore.
So you're more of a guy who likes to do a lot of runs.
I'm on that grind recently. Yeah. If anything, I do like recently. Okay, so here's the difference between like old me and current me. Old me, on my days off, I was practicing, and I was doing runs on the days that I would stream, and I do like a little 30-minute warm up before run. And the practice would consist of like maybe an hour or two of like, practicing all the hardcore, like difficult things that need consistency to be performed in a run, and just small segmented practice on certain areas that were, giving me issues here and there that I had trouble with. Like whatever, every time I do runs, whatever makes a mistake, I have a notepad and I put a notepad of what I screwed up. And so the next day I go over the things that was bad. And then that way I'm fresh on all of those things, and hopefully any mistakes I make have nothing to do with what I did the day before. So that's been very, very, very effective. But, when I was doing practice on my days off, I was starting to burn out hard, bro. I was like, oh my God, like I don't even want to do runs anymore. Like I hit that, that feeling where you're just like, it's like a chore to do a run.
Oh, 100% that, yeah.
And it's like the worst feeling. So I realized if I'm practicing,
go ahead.
I was like, bro, if I'm practicing on my days off, it's not a day off. Because a day off means nothing with the game. You shouldn't be playing the game on your day off if it's your day off. Do you agree?
Yeah, well, it's all about the perspective too, though. Like if you, you've put in, I mean, this is your game here. You probably put in over 10,000 hours by now. It's
probably, yeah.
It requires a lot more because you're so veteran tier at it. It requires a lot more mental energy to fight the fatigue and the burnout. Your fuse of fatigue is a lot shorter than someone who's gotten to the games like just last year by comparison. So yeah, you got to apply a little more effort to like maintain that drive because the discovery for you is so. I had no problem dumping 6 months nonstop with the Mario Odyssey because there was discovery happening constantly. Comparatively, if I did that, I don't think I can get that same frequency with Yoshi's Island without putting a lot of effort on perspective of like working on getting better at the game and having to find discovery in my own unique way to not get burnt out. Honestly, I would agree with you. Fighting burnout is a lot harder than fighting a bad run, Salt. Would you agree with that?
Burnout, I feel like is long term, whereas like Salt is the short term, and so you have to like figure out a way to cope with it on a day to day. But I think that's what I was getting at is if you on your day off you don't touch the game, and you completely remove yourself from the game, and you take time to let whatever you did the day before just simmer. And you don't touch it, it helps a lot with preventing burnout because you're spending time away from it. It's like if somebody was working a job and on their day off they did something related to their job. It's not really a day off.
Yeah. Not only that, you gotta make gaming be about your life, not your life be about gaming.
Yeah,
that's kind of where you have to.
That's so true.
Yeah, so and I think for a lot of people, the longer you speedrun or even speedrun one particular game, the more effort you have to put into the more the quality of you as a runner is more about what you bring outside of speedrunning itself.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? It's not just about the run too. It's also about your mental. Like I feel like it makes you enjoy streaming less, and nobody wants to watch somebody who's pissed off.
Definitely that. Oh, absolutely. That. Yeah, you got to reassess the whole thing.
People can definitely pick up if you're just not having it that day. Like you can see if you're moody or like if you're just not in the mood to do a run and stuff because you're like short fused or sassy or whatever.
Absolutely. So to clarify back here then, so you practice not as much. Runs, you do a lot of runs. It seems like you kind of have this thing where like a satisfying stream to you is getting at least one run done. Is that fair, or is that not even? Is that
no, actually, no, not even that. So yeah, I guess like to bring it back to current me and versus old me. Old me used to do a lot of practice on my days off, and then I realized that I was burning out because of it, and so I realized that I had to actually not touch the game on my days off and practice on the days that I would stream instead, because that way I would have enough time to kind of, you know, reset the brain and just like not be burnt out. But the yeah, the
Sorry.
current me, I literally just do like 30-40 minutes of practice before I stream, or during even during stream, like I'll always do a quick warm up before I start runs and people watch. Hang on. He had an emergency. The doggo. I think the doggo is
I was like
what
clawing at the door and would not stop. I'm like, oh my god. Like I tried for 30 seconds to ignore, and it didn't. Come here, you spoiled little. Oh my god, holy shit.
Dude, my cat does the same thing in the morning.
Oh my god, dude. No, I hate that my office has like a glass door, because if she couldn't see the glass through the glass, she wouldn't do it. She would just give him and walk away. But because she can see through the glass door, it's like it never ends. Anyways, I'm sorry. Please continue though. I was listening. You were talking about the salt components and how your streams are not necessarily forced to have a run every day that finishes.
Yeah, no. So basically, all I really do is 40 minutes, 30 minutes of practice before I do a run, and then I do a quick warm up on stream before I do a run. Like I'll practice all the hard tricks before I do a run, and then that way I feel super
confident.
Confident and ready. And usually my first run is my best run because I feel mentally well and I know that it's my first run. But as I get more tired throughout the stream, I know I'm going to play worse because I'm just like the fatigue is starting to kick in.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, like I haven't really finished a run in a long time, to be honest. It's been a couple of weeks since I finished a full run, but I've had a lot of runs that get to the 3-4 hour mark, and then I'll reset and try again. And if I can get to the 2-3 hour mark, then that ends up being the whole stream, because that either that run goes the distance or it dies. But it's been a 6 hour session, you know, and then I'm just like, all right, I'm tired. 6 hours. I usually stream 6 to 8 hours every time. So it's like, it works out. It works out depending on how it goes. But, you know, sometimes streams drag on a little longer. Like I did a randomizer the other day. That was like a 10-hour stream. So.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that, actually, because it was kind of like it was a neutral question, but I definitely have a very biased answer towards that personally. When I was first getting on Mario Odyssey, I did try to make it an agenda to do at least one full run a day. But eventually, though, that there's a point of diminishing return where you keep PBing every day whenever you have the nirvana of like a daily discovery going on, especially in the first like 3 months of a game being out. This is heavily speed ran as Mario Odyssey, right?
Yeah.
And eventually got to the point where I can't PB every single day. There's eventually gonna be a point where I need to do just, you know, diminishing returns. I gotta do more practice on these harder, more precise tricks to continue getting fast times to get a run going. And I did fall into that trap where I was like, I gotta get a run. My streams are not good unless I get a full run in every time. And then I had to like, and then you know, you know, there were runners who were just doing like, you know, 3 weeks straight of practice, and they come in there fucking gods at everything, and they're just like blowing everyone out by like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know how some people are that way. I'm definitely people. I think some people just are naturally good at getting the times they want quickly. They're just very fast progression.
Well, some of them are also
bests.
like
I am definitely a slow, and I've come to peace with it, and there's nothing bad about it. I definitely am slower at accomplishing my goals when it comes to speedrunning than most other runners, but eventually you get there, you know?
Well, you gotta think of it this way, right? We are definitely performers. You know, we're charismatic. We put on an entertaining stream that contains speedrunning, as opposed to others who may be, you know, pure speedrunning. You know, you gotta think, you know, no webcam, no mic. You know, you can just go. You're them offline and them online is the same thing. They're not like doing a different thing. Where me and you, like, we're entertaining a chat and we're having like, you know, you feel some obligation subconsciously to provide some kind of commentary while you're speedrunning. You know, unless you're like on a really fucking good run, then you're like maybe a turn up a little further. But yeah, you know, there's always a chat to be entertained, and you know, there's going to be a resub to happen, and you're going to feel like an asshole if you don't give some kind of affection or emotional reaction to it, right? So. Yeah, you know.
Actually, it's really. I love this topic. I could talk about this shit all.
Oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
what is that topic then? The topic is
So, like it's like
streamer versus
think of it like
speedrunner,
a
right?
no, I think it's like the streamer versus speedrunner mentality. It's like a spectrum. It's like on one side, on the far left side of the spectrum, you've got hardcore speedrunner, literally only cares about the best time ever, but doesn't talk, has no charismatic personality at all. And on the right side of the spectrum, you've got like the much more prefers the chat interaction, really super like chill guy who doesn't care about being the best, but is also like, competent enough to do a run. But at the same time, it's all about the streamer and not the game. And so I think it's like you have to find that perfect balance, that cocktail of
Absolutely, that
success,
yeah. Because speedrunning doesn't technically really require any of the streamer components, the chat, the charisma, the social engagement. All that's a distraction from just doing more
Yeah.
practice to get better at your tricks and be more consistent and everything else. You know.
Yeah, I think you and I are example of that, where
Yeah,
like
we're
we
more.
try to be.
Yeah, I'm definitely more on the other spectrum. I'm definitely more of the. I wish I was less emotional, honestly. That's something I'm still working on to this day, actually. That's actually where this whole podcast started, because I wanted to, like, hear from others how they find their true potential of speedrunning, because damn it, I get fucking salty and tilted when runs fail. Fuck.
Yeah, dude. No, I'm the same way. I get too invested in runs and stuff
Ooh,
sometimes,
ooh.
and so I like stream about
Hey,
and as a person
I wanted
more
to
than the
ask you,
game.
actually. Okay, wait. All right, so after party, once a run fails. Okay, so for example here, whenever I'm doing Yoshi Crafted World, if I get tilted, I'm like so hyped to just like play Young Link and fuck some Ganondorf up in Smash Brothers Ultimate,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm like I'm a hype. I'm eager to hop on Ultimate and play someone online after a run dies or a run gets finished or whatever, right? I've seen you were definitely you and me are not too different here at all. You are very much into the after party. After a run, whether it crashes and burns or if you get it done, you after party. I've seen you hop on Mario Party as an after party game. But tell me about that. How's your approach when you?
Yeah, no, there's always like something. So that ties into two different things actually. The first one is, yes, if I lose a really good run and I need a pick me up. By the way, Jolly Rogers Bay Mario 64 OST. That's my go there for if you want just like peace of mind. But like, basically, you just have to just completely disconnect from the game. Like Mario Party runs are a huge meme run. They're fun as hell. I almost got you to do one. Remember? I was like, bro, you got to do the Mario minigame island any percent. It's the new.
I remember
thing.
when was that? I don't remember what I had going on at that time.
I think it was like last year. It was so
'Cause
stupid.
it's
man.
like
every single minigame was a joke, bro. Oh, so stupid, but it's fun because it's you don't care, and it's just a fun game to have people laugh at and stuff, and you get back up on the vibe of having good vibes after losing a good run and stuff. So I definitely agree. But it's the other thing that was the first. The second thing was, I think, one of the and this is a very personal thing. I think one of the things that I tried to do as a streamer is I try to think in the long term as sustainability. And I think if you just become a one trick pony on something, it's not going to go very far in streaming, because you can only do the same thing for so long before it just becomes dead, right? And so you definitely need to branch out and change the dynamic of the stream and try new things. And so a great way to introduce your audience to new things is to do different things after you've done what you're known for doing.
Exactly, dude. Tell these affiliates what's up, man. You open with your viewer draw, and then you close with the new stuff, whatever it is. Try anything out. That's the whole point. Don't be scared. Open with Majora's Mask speedruns. Close with whatever the fuck you want to do. Fortnite or I don't know, PUBG or whatever the fuck you want to do, Phil. There's no wrong way to enjoy yourself. So, well, I guess other than
Dude, I literally used to meme it up. I'd be like, please don't leave. I used to be like, give me a chance, man. Just for shits, you know? And it's great, you know, it's fun. A lot of people definitely take the time to give you a few minutes, and turns out they enjoy it. So it's a great way to do that, and also wind down from a speed run and get that after party.
Indeed. Okay, wait. I had more here. So we got that. We got about 20 left here. What else? I had more for you. So, we kind of covered before in the first hour a little bit. I was gonna ask you about what drew you into speedrunning in the first place. I think you told me it was Enop, right? That's what turned you on in the first place.
Yeah. It was definitely Zelda 3D Zelda on N64 in general, and like old school GDQs and shit.
So seeing the existence of speedrunning and seeing just how cool it could look is what drew you in. Do you find that still motivates you now, or do you feel like you have like a different motivation now? Like, is it more about legacy, where like, you know, you are the Majora mask hundo guy, and does that perceived legacy keep you motivated to want to, like, do you want to get number one? Is that like what pushes you now?
Right now, I want to get a sub 440. The record is a 430. Pretty nasty run. Like, it's insane. He's so I don't understand what they put in that Swedish food, but it makes him a beast. Like, he's so damn good, bro. Like, and his world record wasn't even on the best route. Like, he used a route that had a 2.5 minute deficit in time loss compared to the route I'm running, and I still can't catch the guy. Like, he's just a beast. And right now, I mean, I take it one step at a time. I think, you know, small progression is the way to get to your goal. At least for me, that works best. And so I want to get I have a 444, and I want to get a 439. I want to get that. Only he's gotten a sub 440 before. No one else has a sub 440, so I'd be the second person to get one. And I'd be really proud of myself if I can get a 439. That'd be a hell of a run for me.
Okay.
And definitely, and then from there, you know, maybe take it from there and see what happens. If I want to beat that, or if I want to, you know, maybe try any % again after all these years, who the fuck knows?
Who the fuck knows? Could I ask you, what's your take on other Zeldas? Like, have you, I know you said before that, you know, OOT is not particularly as drawn to you as MM by comparison, but what other games have caught your interest, if anything? Like,
So I used to, I mean, obviously we had the meme Mario Party runs, but that's not serious. I used to speedrun Mega Man X for a while.
Okay.
Back in 2016, I used to speedrun Mega Man X, but I haven't for quite a while now. I don't know. Part of me's I've been getting the itch to dab a little bit in that, see what happens, because I love Mega Man X. It's my favorite video game. You can see the freaking wall of Mega Man. So like,
ooh, actually, you know what? Now you said that, you poked me there. I'm gonna pivot further into that same question here and ask you, what is your favorite game? Like, what's your favorite game to play versus your favorite game to speedrun, if they're different?
It's my favorite game ever, right here, Mega Man X for the Super Nintendo.
So it's not Majora. Like, your favorite game is blatantly Mega Man X.
This is the best game ever created, in my opinion. It's amazing.
All right, damn. Okay.
It's so good.
Now, okay, and so now I kind of want to ask you, like, well, what have you tried? I feel like it's kind of weird you haven't tried to just like combine the two here. And if it's your favorite game and has tons of replayability, why haven't you tried speedrunning it? But have you? Like, you said you speedrun.
Yeah,
you have a little bit in the past.
I have a mid 37 and 100% and a low 30 for MMX, but that was a long time ago.
Okay.
And I don't know. I'm impressed with Mega Man's runners. I don't know how they don't have carpal tunnel. Like, my hands were killing from trying tricks.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, actually. You're not wrong there.
Yeah,
I agree with you. It's pretty brutal. Real quick here. Can you I'm still out of the loop here. So I see it's the chat has gone absolutely apeshit. They're spamming that RNG.
Yeah, this breeze is happening right now.
Why? Is this where the breeze is? Is this where the wind blows or whatever, or is something different?
No. So I've lost some runs to this. This is bullshit. This is called the Goron race. We basically call it Goron Race 64. It's like Mario Kart. It's just literally the most radical rubber band AI you'll ever see in a game. It's insane. So what we do is, in my opinion, you can more times than less win at first try, but there is a good chunk of like every 10 races, you'll like 3 or 4 times out of 10, you're going to lose the race to some stupid crap that happens where, so you have to, the premise of the entire thing is you're doing this race on this course and you're spinning with the Goron, and you have to get to the finish line without, getting wrecked. And if you come in first, you get a gold dust, which is like a part of a quest to get another item. And so the course takes about 1.5 minutes to complete. And so if you lose it, that's an automatic 1.5 minute time loss if you don't win it first try, which is a pretty significant time loss in this run. So the thing about it is the Gorons that you're racing, there's 4 Gorons you're racing. They have extremely strong rubber band AI where if you're extremely ahead, they'll just destroy you. Like they'll come flying. So one of the strategies that people came up with was actually staying in second, so you could keep the one guy like close to you, and then right at the end you just like smash him and pass.
Yeah, out-cheese the rubber band AI. Exactly.
Out-cheese the rubber band AI, exactly. But there's a bridge that you can get bonked, and you can go flying off the bridge and lose the race. So there's a pretty stupid RNG component to it because it's never the same race. Like they always roll in completely random. Their paths are always random. It's never like they're not like plotted or anything like that. So you never know what you're gonna get. Sometimes I've had days where I've lost 3 Goron races in a row. I've had weeks where I've lost Goron race first time 3 times straight, and I just get destroyed. But like for whatever reason, sometimes you'll go 2 weeks in a row with it first try every time. You just never know. So we just made this emote, the RNG emote, and everyone just goes nuts. We blaze it. We call blazing it Gorons.
Yeah, that's all you can do, man. It's you gotta turn misery into a meme somehow, right?
Yeah, it's like, do you blaze it? I blaze Gorons, yeah.
Okay. So well, that's good to hear. You got that chat culture going on. You've developed the culture in reaction to a really shitty part of the run that would make any sense.
Yeah, people look forward to it all the time. It's definitely a fun thing.
So I wanted to ask you here, like, your biggest letdown when speedrunning the game. I would assume it's failing a frame perfect trick. That's what I would have guessed at the beginning of our interview. But now I'm wondering, is that still the case now? Like, what would get you the most tilted, or does get you the most tilted in speedrunning Majora's Mask? Is it the frame perfect tricks?
The most
is
tilted?
It the RNG factors? Is it failing a run when you could have not failed the run? Like, is it even one thing, or is it multiple things?
No, it's not even Dampe. Like, people say Dampe. It's not even Dampe. Okay, here's my honest opinion, and people can disagree with me if they want, but whatever. I think that if you're gonna speedrun a game and you know that there's an RNG component to it, you can't get mad if it doesn't go your way, because that's just the nature of the beast. Like, you have to accept the fact that that's just part of it, and it's not your fault, and it's just the way the game is. And so, in my opinion, it makes it more. I feel worse when I screw something up and it's my responsibility, not the game's responsibility.
Right.
Because I know I could have done something to prevent that, Whereas, like, if it's the game, okay, it's the game. That's the way it is.
You know what? Like, what I like about that too is that, like, the fact there's like RNG like intertwined into the run makes the run a little bit, at least 1% trivial, right? So at that point, it's like it's silly to even get like super mad and have like a heated gamer moment over a run that is partially trivial here. Like you just gotta you gotta do the paywall. You just gotta do a fuck ton of runs to where the probability is eventually gonna go your way, where you get good RNG and you play well.
It's like a lottery. You just have to play the lottery until you get it, so you win.
There is that, right? So then to clarify, then what annoys you the most would be when
my own mistakes,
with your own mistakes, and not any of the RNG
100%.
bullshit.
100%, because I know that I'm able to do the trick, but something stupid happened, or if there's something ridiculous that happens in the run that I've never, like the other day. So there's a clip of it. It's probably, let me see if I can find it. It's so stupid. I was literally backwalking, and a freaking powder keg exploded, like blowing up in the wrong area, and it lost me like two minutes or something. And so it's stuff like that. You've been playing a game for how many years now, always have something that you've never seen happen. It's that whole like, oh, that's never happened before. The fucking
Oh yeah,
meme. Bro, it's such a meme, but it's so true. Like you think after all this time you've seen it all, but it's always something. Like, and those things are annoying for sure, because it's like you plan and you've got all this stuff that you know about that can definitely just be like, there's nothing I haven't seen, and then all of a sudden.
Wait, your chat right now. I love your chat, dude. Or your boys in my chat. They are roasting you hard right now.
Oh my
Not
God,
picking
dude.
the blue dog, Majin D.
Yeah, bro. Oh my God.
Let's drop for no reason with 10 seconds left before midnight on the third day, Majin D. Bridge 1, Phil 0, Majin D. Like, bro, they are pinpointing the exact times. Hit you with that Majin D, fam. God damn.
Yeah, the roast of it's always the roast.
Dude. Okay. So, all right, we covered that. I have a better understanding there. I have a good question here, but I'm going to say this one for last. What I want to say here about this one. Okay. Advice to other would-be Majora's Mask runners, or advice to your past self on day one of speedrunning Majora's Mask.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So you can start off, first advice to newcomers.
So if you're a newcomer, we dabbed on this a little bit, touched on it, and said that if you're interested in speedrunning this game in particular, make sure you have an actual copy, but definitely try the stuff on. If you don't have an actual copy, get an actual copy, but or I don't know, like I was gonna say emulators are a good way to try it for the first time, just to see, because they're really accessible, and so it's a nice way to learn.
Is there a horror story here? Cause you're really doubling down this whole like make sure you try it before you like get into it. I feel like there's like a story here of like you not doing that and you learn that lesson the hard way, or am I overreading that a little bit? Like, was there a game that you like were like, fuck yeah, it's gonna be lit, man! I can't wait to do SMW 96 exit, and then you just like hopped in blind. And you're like, Cape's stupid. This game is dumb.
No, I've actually never had that happen personally. Because I've never really taken another speedrun super seriously, except for Mega Man X when I did it for the little bit that I did. I actually did that for a 12-hour challenge. Golden's 12-hour challenge thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually why I did MMX. But
Ooh.
No, I never actually had a game that I was like, oh yeah, let's go all out, and then I ended up doing, nothing with it because I didn't like it and stuff. I definitely think that if you're gonna learn a speedrun or try it, definitely do research first. Watch other people run it. Get involved in the communities. I can tell you right now, I would never do runs if I didn't stream, because I think part of what's fun about it is streaming it and sharing the run with people. That's what's nice about it, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas if you're doing it by yourself, it's you get bored, and there isn't really that dynamic of being able to like, have something to do while you're doing the run, because it is none in particular. Mine is a long run, but I mean anything in general. So
very interesting here.
If you're gonna do a full run, or if you're gonna speed run stuff on whatever, you're gonna do. You got to buy a capture card. You got to have a computer. You got to have decent internet. You got to have the game. You got to have everything you need to do the run, and that's obviously not exactly cheap. It gets up there when you start to buy all those things. And so if you're interested in it before you make that decision and then regret it, just try it on an emulator and see if you like it. And that way you can take that next step and buy what you need to buy for MM. And MM specifically, because MM requires a Wii and the soft modding stuff and everything, and like, a good controller, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. What was I gonna say about that now? You threw me for a loop there a little bit. Oh, you were saying how if you didn't stream, you wouldn't do runs. Interesting comparisons there, because I was speedrunning in 2004, so I didn't have streaming as an avenue of a social component to speedrunning until 2011. So for me, streaming was like this nirvana of like a social boost to a very isolated, stagnant hobby I found myself intrigued by. And what I want to get at with that comparison there is Hmm. There's something to be something to said right there. You know, you wouldn't do unless you were alone,
Well,
or unless you had
okay,
the
okay.
audience.
Let me rephrase it. I wouldn't do it if anything else would keep me, like busy while I was doing the run, because just doing the run by
Well,
itself with nothing
well,
else
no,
is,
I'm
it
sorry.
can be really.
I didn't mean it like as a negative
It,
thing. Actually,
no, I know. I'm just saying that, like, like when I was before. So I mentioned before, before I got into speedrunning, I was playing Street Fighter. I played a lot of Street Fighter 4, almost competitively at a certain point. The only reason I couldn't was because of, expenses and traveling and stuff. And being in Canada, it's hard to make it to events. Most of them are in California.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was interesting was I played all of that. I never streamed at the time. I played it all online and by myself. But the thing about it was that the games were quick. Like, you would play a game and then you'd get into the next one in 5 minutes. And so there was very little downtime. But when you're speed running, especially this game, there's so much downtime with cycle one, and in itself, cycle one is like infamous for being super slow and takes 20 minutes to get through it and whatever. And so the when I first started streaming, the things I did to like take my mind off the fact that I was like trying to keep myself entertained while I was doing a run was I would hop into a Discord call with friends, or I'd throw up a stream and watch another stream, sometimes the same game, because I wanted to take notes on how to get better and stuff from better runners. And so that was a great way for me to get, more, to stay active and not bored during runs. And so once streaming became a little more sustainable with the chat, once I started getting a more active chat and a couple more viewers, that was one of the things I looked forward to the most when it came to speedrunning, was sharing the run with the stream. So that's where I was getting at with that.
Oh, okay. Because what I was going to elaborate on here about that was like probably the biggest change, aside from obviously the social reinforcement to like have an audience to watch me speedrun, was that before I had streaming, speedrunning was a very much more periodic thing I would do. And by that I mean like I would try runs for like 2 hours, and I would, all right, well I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna hop on, I don't know, like Borderlands 1, or I'm gonna play like Halo 3 for a few hours or whatever. Like I would very much segment my attempts at doing things to make the salt as minimal as possible, because I had things I'd rather do. But comparison here now, I have to, like, now you have to force yourself to do like, one catastrophic binge session daily, essentially, to maintain optimal viewership, expand your audience, and to get to get a better speedrun product, because you have to play your game a fuck ton more. So when I wasn't streaming, yeah, I would just kind of like, I would hit it, hit the speedrun blunt, periodically throughout the day, rather than one giant chunk and then do something else in a giant chunk. So I don't know. I wonder if I resume that, how that would affect me. But probably not.
Have you ever thought about doing like two different streams, like in a day, like a 3-hour session and another 3-hour session, instead of like one?
No, because I know it's so inefficient. Like, you have to reclaim your viewer count again. It's like, there's the business of streaming is gonna override my emotional part at that point. I gotta just like deal with it and get over it. And it's a very
100%.
first world problem. It's a very minute thing. But the point is, when I wasn't worried about that kind of thing as a streamer, as an entertainer, if you will, yeah, I would just like, I would do what I want to do when I want to do it, as impulsively as I felt.
That's a fair point, though, because at the end of the day, your hobby has become your life. You have to really find a balance between how you want to make those two work. At the end, you have bills to pay, right? So
yeah, definitely that. Shout out to the tryhards in chat, y'all. Love y'all. Prime sub. Love y'all, by the way. So, let me see. Okay, so we covered all of that, and shit, did I had a question earlier, but I already forgot what it was here now. I'm sorry. I usually have notes prepared here, but I kind of like today was kind of sloppy, and I do apologize for that. So you covered your advice for actually what I asked you for advice to newcomers. I was more getting at like advice on perspective in the game, as opposed to like literally like, should they come into Majora's Mask expecting like to get results anytime soon? Should they calibrate themselves because the game has like a slow beginning, in your opinion, or it doesn't? I don't know, really. Like,
yeah, so I digressed for sure. The first part I was saying was definitely like use an emulator to see if you get a good feel for it. The second thing I was gonna say, which is literal, was make sure if you want to get good at it, get good at the bomb techniques. There's like the difference between and other speedrun games is that it's a very glitch heavy game and not movement based, such as something like Mario 64, which is the only glitch really used is backwards long jump, right? Or in like maybe a handful of other mini things. But like in a lot of the movement comes from recoil flips, weird shots, mega flips, bomb boosting, infinite sword glitch, bomb hovers, bomb shoe hovers. All of those things require bombs. So if you get good with those and you build fundamentals with that, you can literally take that knowledge and apply it to any setup requiring. And so you become really, really good at adapting to anything that you need to learn when it comes to routing, you know, putting a setup together and stuff like that. That's a really, really good fundamental.
But that's boring. I want to do runs now.
Dude, it took hours. Like you literally just sit and term in a field and fucking put infinite bombs on and just keep doing it over and over.
Man, that fucking sucks, man. I'm playing OT instead.
Bro, people want results right away. That was Tara's problem. She always wanted to get good quickly, and I was like, Tara, stop. You gotta get good. You gotta take time. Like,
getting good. It's so boring, man. Where's the?
Man, I know.
I'm just gonna. You know what? Fuck Majora's Mask. I'm doing OT randomized from now on. Like, fuck that game.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the other thing, and then going back, you were saying like more from a mental perspective, like how to get into from a mental perspective. I think things to consider are definitely, you know, if you're gonna, whatever game you choose to pick, not just Majora's Mask, but any game in general, don't use difficulty as something that dictates on whether or not you're gonna speedrun it. Speedrun a game because you love the game. Doesn't matter how difficult it is. If you love it, you'll learn it. And that's just the way it is. It doesn't matter, because if you love a game enough, you'll take the time to get it. It's like anything else, you know. It's like Smash. Smash is really hard, but if you love it enough, you'll take the time to learn the tech, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wholeheartedly believe that. So pick the game because you love the game, and then, you know, depending if it's a short speed run, obviously it's less mentally taxing in the long run. But if it's a long speed run, the endurance factor is definitely something you have to learn how to cope with. So there's a lot of things, I don't know, like for a long speed run too, a lot of people don't have the time to perform them. Like if you have to do a 5-hour run and you're not a full-time streamer, that's not exactly something you can do consistently if you're not earning a living. Like you got IRL, right? So that's something to consider. If you're doing a short run, then you can fit in a small session at the end of your day and stuff. That's why any percent was great when I was working. I only started doing 100% when I did full time. So that's definitely something to consider. I can come up with a couple more things, but like that's definitely a few things.
No, it's a good point there, and you still dodging questions right now because you haven't told me. You got a time portal back in time. What do you tell your past self on day one of learning Majora's Mask? Do you tell him to would you tell your past self to like did you do Bomb Foundation in when you were learning Majora's Mask yourself, Mr. Guilty, or no?
Yeah, I did actually. That was the thing I did the most. That helped me the most. But and it's what I was saying before, where I loved the you know, I love the bomb hovering, right? I was saying how I love the bomb hovering. So I was doing that over and over again and like getting good at it just because I enjoyed doing it so much and like trying it to different places and shit. So that was just something I did naturally. But if for new people, I would recommend. But if I could tell my past self something,
yeah, you're Captain Hindsight. What would you have done in hindsight?
Oh, dude, that's a good. I don't know. Maybe I would have told myself to start with 100%.
Ooh, really? You think that would have been?
Believe it or not. Even though that's trying to run before you can walk, I would have still told that.
How would that have worked out positively? I feel like that would have just overwhelmed you. It's like
I don't know.
It's like telling an OOT run to hop on Hundo before any percent. Actually,
I don't know. I honestly feel like I don't know. I feel like that would have helped me in the long run be a better player, just because 100% is so much more demanding for longer than an any percent run. Any percent is really difficult now. Don't get me wrong, but it's shorter, so you only have to exhaust energy for so long before it's done, right?
I'm sorry, chat. I meant MST. I'm sorry. Obviously, 80%'s a giant. 80%'s like so devoid of like intended gameplay that it's like it's comical to even compare to other categories. I meant MST or like something different like that. Sorry.
Yeah, MST is crazy. But I don't really know. I don't know what I would tell myself. Tell myself something related to like how, like a tip, some kind of tip. The funniest thing I could think of, it's not even speedrunning related. If I could go back to like 7-year-old me, when my parents used to be like, when are you gonna stop playing video games? And like I could tell my 7-year-old self, be like, keep playing games because it's gonna make you a living. It would have been hilarious. It would have been just
there
like,
you go, right?
don't stop.
Don't stop. Well, sir, we're at almost a 2-hour mark now, so let's bring it into some closure here. So, since the beginning here, I've learned that you're definitely more of a runner than a practicer. You're more oriented towards incremental, long-term, slower paced progress, as opposed to just trapping yourself in a dungeon and just getting good, the good old grindy way or whatever. You have some hints of I want to call it not burnout or fatigue, but you do have to apply yourself mentally a lot to fight that, and you do so by completely isolating off of video games in your day off. Pretty cool there, and that you're a big Mega Man X fan. So with that, bring it all in here. What's any closing comments, or what do you want to bring? What do you want to talk about at this point for the last 5 minutes here? What are plans for the future? It's actually a really good question here. What are your plans for the future, and are they different now than they were when you started streaming in the very beginning?
So, I mean, you mean for my stream in general, or like what kind of
both? But maybe
plans?
Both. Hey, whatever you interpret it as. It could be for speedrunning. It could be for, I guess, I would assume that the plans for speedrunning and the stream are mildly intertwined, but you can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
So stream wise, I mean, 100% has always been something dear to me. Like, I love the cat. It's special to me. I love the speed run, and it's something I want to always have a very impressive time in, as long as I can. And so that's definitely something I'll want to continue doing, on and off throughout my streaming career, if you want to call it that. But there's other things I'm interested in now. Believe it or not, Mario Maker 2 is looking really cool. I'm gonna play that for sure. Crash Team Racing Remastered is gonna be so sick, man. We should race in that game. I can't wait for it. And
actually, I need to hop on Sonic All Stars Racing. That came out actually, I think yesterday.
Oh yeah, the Sonic one came out, and there was a couple other really good things coming out later in the year. I know The Last of Us 2. So there's a lot of casual games that I really want to focus on. But I've definitely made an effort to grow my stream in that dynamic, and try to be more of a variety
guy. Yeah.
The
natural progression, man. It is what it is. That's how it works out.
Exactly. And short term, I got GDQ. I'm doing 100% at GDQ next month, so that's.
We didn't even talk about that. Good lord, I'm sorry. You're sitting here.
Yeah, ask away.
No, fuck. What would I even ask?
I'm an idiot for even doing it.
Do you feel unqualified, or you feel like the run's it's too not marathon friendly, or like
it's so stupid? Like, there's like a chance the thing fucking crashes randomly and shit. You can get a VC crash or just freeze it, and you can't save because every save kills your in-game quest progress. So it's literally 5 hours of Monk ads. That's what it is. It's
so
5 hours.
Wait, what's your estimate? What did you put, like 5.5 or like 6 hours?
Yeah, 515 estimate. And I'm going to try and do it in under 5 hours. It's just so dumb, bro. Like, I don't even know what I was thinking. But it's going to be... If I pull it off, it'll be the most legendary run out of GDQ, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm nervous, but I'm excited at it. It's like both, So I really hope it works out.
Is this your first GDQ run?
No,
right.
This is my third one.
Okay.
I've done 90% in 2015, 100% co-op with some other guys in 2016, and I just commentated the 90% run this past January at the 2019 GDQ.
Gotcha.
So I've been on camera 3 times. This will be my 4th, but I've done 2 runs myself.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you know how it rolls, man. Don't even worry. This is a performance. Your commentary will carry so much harder than your actual quality of play, from what I've observed.
Yeah. The freaking
As long as you're explaining what the fuck's happening and people can understand the stakes of how risky everything is constantly, you'll be fine.
I pride myself on my commentary too. I really try to make it as good as possible and as easy to understand. I think a lot of Q runs, they accidentally become super technical with their stuff. And you have to understand that a lot of people have never even played the game. So I think the most simplistic, literally feeding with a baby spoon commentary is the best approach.
Yeah, because you can get overwhelmed. You can get like super overwhelmed with a commentary.
And for a long, for sure. And for a long run like that, if you don't, you can lose the audience really easy with a long run like that. So whereas compared to a short one, they're just like, all right, this guy's commentary is really technical, but 15 minutes, I don't care.
Yeah, and how I look at it is like, I think a great commentary is you're never stuck commentating about the past because you were too long-winded on explaining what was going to happen and defining the stakes of the risky maneuver you're about to pull off. Great commentary, you're always commentating ahead of time, building up what'll happen in the present.
I agree.
Sixer coming up here. It's gonna be really, really sick, and then you explain like, if I fail it, I'm gonna lose like a minute and a half. But see this pit right here, I'm about to fall in. If I fall into the, you build up, and it's build up and then it's pay off. So that's what it should be over and over again, and then I can follow along easily. When if the thing happens and you're dwelling on how risky it was, but it already happened, and there's things happening right now. I have to like think about what you're saying and what's happening. And computing the two at the same time, it's like it's a little too much.
Dude, the other thing people do is they assume everyone knows the acronym. So like if you start just talking like ISG.
Dude.
What the fuck is that even mean? You're like, sword glitch. Like you have to remember that no one knows that.
Absolutely,
like, so there's a lot of red flags when it comes to commentary, but I'm gonna make sure that it's really good. I've been taking some notes down and stuff and preparing it, so it's gonna be really, really good. But all GDQ things aside, though.
Yeah. Well, good luck on that. Sorry again. I wish I was gonna be at SGDQ, but I had nothing to. Well, really, Crafter World was one thing I had on my current arsenal of things I would feel like running, and it came out after submissions. So I hadn't at that point. I was like, well, I'm not gonna go to GDQ. I'd rather just be home and chill.
You're gonna be so busy with Mario Maker 2, though.
Yeah, and then Mario Maker 2 drops during the week of.
It drops on the day of my run.
Ouch.
It drops the 28th of June, which is pretty shitty, but whatever.
Yeah, I would, I would tell you that I'm watching your run, but like, whew.
It's gonna be tough to do, man. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, bro. But you got all the Phil tryhards in chat here. Majin D in chat. They know where they're gonna be at. They know where Dad's gonna be. They're loyal.
Well, GDQ. I'm sure a lot of people play it with GDQ up and stuff. So
absolutely.
It's not gonna like take away from the event and stuff for sure. But. What was the question you asked before the closing statement one? I forget.
What are your goals with your stream now, and have they changed since you began streaming? And it's a deliberately open question because you can interpret it as intertwined with your speedrunning goals versus stream goals, or if they're mutually different or whatever.
Definitely from a streaming perspective, my goal is definitely to become a stream that people come and hang out for me, for my personality, and not just for the game, just so that it gives me more freedom to play what I want to play and to try new things and to really build that long-term sustainability if I tend to do it for a long time, which I do because I really enjoy it. And so I think I've done a pretty good job at that, and it's something I want to continue working towards and building. But there's also the whole doing it for a living now adds a total new dynamic because now I have other responsibilities. I have Terror. I take care of Terror, and I might want to have a child next year. Who knows? And so if that happens, I have a family.
Man, can we do a second podcast not on this where I can just ask you about all the real talk? Because like,
dude,
marriage,
sure.
I'm like, I'm terrified and scared more than I'm excited, just because I'm like. It's that event. Like I got all my grandparents. Like, when are you having the wedding? When's it gonna happen? When you having kids? I'm like, I'm terrified of kids. I'm terrified. I feel like I feel like I'm a huge noob at parenting. I'm just like not. Like, do parents just like wing it until they get good at it? Do they practice? I don't know. Like, all of it is more intimidating than exciting to me. So I'm wondering how and you sound like you're just like, I mean, look, y'all. You know who the fuck I am? I'm the face of Majin D. Look, Parenthood, man, that's just, man, they ain't frame perfect. That's free. I got that easy.
Okay, well, so when it comes to, Tara's not pregnant right now, so obviously I don't know what it's like to expect a child, but my best friend is actually expecting, and his wife's expecting, and they just got married last year. And so I asked him this exact question, and he told me that he's like, I'm scared shitless, bro. He's like, I don't know. He's excited but scared, and he's like, I don't think I'll be ready until kid's born. That's what he told me. And I was like, that makes sense. He's like, it's something you just got to do, and you just take it day by day, and you learn as you go. That's something, and that's how it is. He's like, reading the baby books isn't gonna help. He's like, I read them.
I heard that.
He's like, they fucking suck.
I ain't got time to read no damn manual, boy.
I know, bro. It's so it's so that was his advice. So for what it's worth, but I don't know. I really think that if the stress, the thing about it is that I think the scariest thing about having a family and supporting them and being a father and a husband is the real quick, and like we can talk about this off stream or on whenever you want, but it's the being able to be there and provide. I feel like I feel a responsibility to be the breadwinner and provide for my family, and very, very traditional in that way. But the
y'all,
if you
a
can,
family man, y'all. I love it.
I am, bro, man, dude, family all day. But like, if you can do that, if you can live up to that responsibility, everything else is not difficult. Because I feel like my biggest fear as that person is not being able to support my family. If you can't give them the things they want and be a parent, or be the good husband, that then that's really you disappoint yourself in that way. But like, if you can do that, there's nothing to be scared of, in my opinion. That's my real talk.
Dude, that was wonderful, man. Like, you make marriage sound the most badass thing in the world now. And you're just like, it's like, yeah, what you gotta be scared of, man? It's you and your best friend, your life partner, the one you want to be with more than anything else in the world. How can you not want to celebrate that? Well, shit.
By the way, I have to say, I'm so excited that you and
sorry, like,
you guys are amazing.
You broke up so hard right there. I didn't hear a thing you said. You're so.
Oh, I was saying that I'm excited that you and Venom are finally living together and everything. So nice.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, we should do it. We should do another like just chill podcast to talk about that because you were in distance. I was in distance.
Oh my god.
Right? Like, actually, I want to say like me, you, and Mitch Flower Power were all together. Like, I think, didn't we all find girlfriends the same year? Like 2016 was like the year of the come up.
2015 for me.
2015 for you, okay.
But that's pretty close.
Maybe, I'm sorry. AGDQ's 2016 was when we all met each other's girlfriends for the first time. Is that what happened then? For some reason, I remember all of us like.
I remember it was Do you remember at EVO just this past summer in 2018 when we were hanging out watching Caleb all his money to that fucking Lord of the Rings slot machine?
Oh yes, yeah. We were all.
And it was you, me, Terror. We were hanging out.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was like, oh god, it was so. Dude, I remember being like 3 a.m. and it was pretty scary because it was like, it felt like it was 6 p.m. but it was 3 a.m. Like the attaching time was very like Vegas. We got Vegas really, really hard.
Mega Vegas, yeah. I remember it.
All right.
So.
But yeah, no, okay. So
I would love to talk about that.
We'll have to schedule that. We'll have to do a follow up, just commentate and chill. I'm thinking, is there a game we could play together? That's the real strats. I don't know.
Dude, I'm down. Anything you want. We should do either Crash Team Racing or Sonic. Would be sick.
Sonic would be dope.
Or Yu-Gi-Oh, like we said, Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes. Okay. Cool. All right. We're doing a Yu-Gi-Oh thing. We're gonna do a Yu-Gi-Oh thing. We're gonna figure it out in the DMs, y'all. Yu-Gi-Oh's gonna happen. We're gonna do like, it's gonna be like 20% Yu-Gi-Oh, 8% talking. So look forward to that. It's gonna be hot.
I'm so down.
We're gonna do it. It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be awesome, dude. So yeah, we're gonna look forward to that later on. Everyone, I want to do better times. I know I went super over with Linkus. Not that was a bad thing, but that I don't think anyone's ready to watch a 3.5 hour podcast. So it's been a little over 2 hours now. MajinPhil, everyone, the Majora's Mask 100% speedrunner that we all know and love. Your preferred Zelda-flavored degenerate streamer to check out of choice. On the come up right now. Ambitious in expanding his stream appeal to not just converting all of you Majora's Mask directory fans to being diehard Phil Majin D worshippers. Am I right? So
I wanted Majin D to be a global emote today.
Dude, I couldn't even tell you what the meta is in that now. Like, getting global now is so freaking
it's weird.
Dumb. Yeah, it's dumb.
You need to suck some serious staff dick.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I couldn't even tell you at this point. I got it because I was early. Back when I got it, there was like 20 emotes total on the global scale. Now there's like 210 plus. I think the last 2 that happened for streamers was the ninja one, which is kind of a bad emote, doesn't even get used. I don't even know. I couldn't tell you. Just keep doing your thing, fam. Like,
yeah,
the face is good. The face is really good. I'll tell you that I'm a very happy MajinPhil fan because, goddamn, dude, speaking of that, I didn't even get to even ask you why MajinPhil. You know what I should have did if I was smart? I would have been a shitpost and been like, so why is Cell Saga the best saga, or why is Boo Saga the worst saga? Try to indirectly shit on the fact that maybe perhaps Majin Vegeta is an overrated character, like just to get you triggered and see what you would say.
Honestly, my favorite saga, and in my opinion, the best is the Namek saga, but not Frieza, but before Frieza, like when they're looking for everything.
So so before Ginyu Force,
you get like hardcore evil Vegeta in there. But when he's like ruthless.
Oh,
he's
like a dick. He like fucking knees Gohan in the stomach.
Yeah, dude. It's so good. It's a great rewatch. Just bought I found on eBay all the freaking DVDs for like $200. I bought it, and I've just been spamming it in my TV all week. Like, I've been watching it. It's so good. It's so good. And you gotta watch it with like not that Dragon Ball Z shit. You gotta watch the entire all the filler episodes. Like, they're so good, bro.
Dude, okay. Dude, that I like that. That was a hot take that I do not mind. Damn.
It's so good. I recommend. Namek Saga is OP as fuck.
No, you're right, dude. Freaking Vegeta's ego is he's such a cocky piece of shit back then. I love it.
He's actually my favorite character because of his character development in the entire show. Like, if you watch it, he goes from like his entire existence is based around being a beast and killing Frieza, and then it becomes about being stronger than Goku, but then he starts to figure out that it's not all about being an asshole. It's just like he has Bulma as his wife and shit, and I love that. I think like it becomes more like complex. So he's a sick character. It's not just about him being like everyone always shits on him because he's always like, oh bro, like he's fucking this man transformed.
No, I hear you. Well, it's hard for us Gohan fans, man. Like, dude, I had like a quarter chub or more at any given time throughout Saiyan Saga to Frieza Saga and by Cell Saga, I'm just like, dude, I'm fucking like full staff, just like, dude, Gohan, you're the shit, dude. You're fucking, look at this man, bro. Look at the potential. Look at this guy. Gohan doesn't even want to hurt people. He's a pacifist. Like, Cell, such a piece of shit that you actually made him what he is because of your narcissistic prickful ways.
I feel bad for Gohan because he was a beast in the Cell Saga, and then they nerfed him.
That's why I say Teen Gohan, because adult Gohan I don't even recognize. It's such a fuck boy.
It's such a fuck boy. And then, did you watch Dragon Ball Super?
No, I did watch Resurrection F or Resurrection Frieza, and I saw him. Oh, he's such a bitch there too.
Dude, they made Gohan strong again as fan service like later in the show, and they did it in like one episode, and it's like the weirdest.
Most,
like, he literally goes
synthetic
from
payoff ever. He
goes from pussy, like can barely like do anything, to like ridiculous and fights like Super Saiyan Blue Goku in a fight. It's like it made no sense. I was like so confused.
Well, I have my reservations about Dragon Ball Super. I have to get around to watching it so I can critique it further. But
it's weird. It's not that. I wish they still just ended it at Z, but
Yeah.
Gotta get that money.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up here because I gotta, or else I'm gonna have another bloated. I did this with Linkus too. I kept going on and on and on again. We never actually got to a stopping point. So
Sounds good.
We're gonna stop right here. When are you going live? You going live tonight?
I'll be live in like 20 minutes. Yeah.
All right, boys. Make sure you go to twitch.tv/MajinPhil. Give that man a follow. Go over there. Check out the Majin D's. Check out his chat culture. It's thriving. It's phenomenal. It's fantastic. He's going to be doing some sick-ass Majora's Mask, speedrunning, and more. If you are Dejin in chat, type 1, because if so, then you are destined to collide with his stream later on today. Also, don't forget, an exciting announcement here. My man said 2,500 subs. It's going down. Majora's Mask 3D. You can get the man who hates the game the most. The guy who has put in over 10,000 hours on the wrong version of the game, who refused to, upon launch, even acquire playing the 3DS version. He said he will bust open and lose his 3DS virginity for y'all on stream, live on Pornhub. I mean, on twitch.tv/MajinPhil. And we can finally. I will be able to happily. I will package the 3DS capture on my stream, so I can happily mail it to Phil, and he can unleash the shit stain that is that game for himself.
Okay, all the Trihex viewers though, if he doesn't package it, you all have to yell at him, all of you.
Oh no,
because he's gonna be. It's gonna be like 2030, and he's gonna be like, yeah, bro.
No, if it's one really, people don't forget, man. You threw out some self-torment sub goal right now. They are going to remember, dude. Don't worry.
They wanted me to play a scary game, but I refuse. I hate scary games. I played Resident Evil 2 Remake, and it was like, I couldn't even, the fucking guy that chases you. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Mr. X. Oh, yeah, I know.
Trust me. My God, bro. I fucking hate that guy.
Nah, dude, that's, okay, listen. That's nothing. Fam, you want true hell? Play Resident Evil 7 in VR. That is a whole different. No, listen. Like I can everything else by comparison is like a 2 out of 10. Like fuck that. You play Resident Evil 7 blind with the headphones on, full immersion in a dark room in VR. It is actually, fam. I had nightmares. I had like fucking soaked pits and like stress sweat. I didn't have fun. I wasn't even enjoying it, dude. I was like, I would like play Mario Maker until like hoping chat would forget I was playing this thing, and they were like, "Man, fuck this game. When you play Resident Evil 7 again, bro, I'm trying to." And like, dude, they were like, "Oh, dude, it was stressful, man." Like, I kid you not, dude. I remember it vividly. January 2017, I had to play that game, and I fucking, dude, you're fucking like you're walking through the rooms and like there's like fucking like cat corpses hanging from the ceiling. You have to like walk past them. It's like walking right in your peripheral vision, dude. Like you're walking past like fucking hanging dead cats from the ceiling and shit. And
no amount of money on the face of the earth could make me play that.
Yeah, like that. Well, what I'm getting here is, once you experience that level of hell, anything else by comparison, you're playing a game on a flat 2D monitor. It's not coming at you. The threat level is like 2 out of 10 at best. When you're playing it in VR, and your peripheral vision's engulfed in all the scary bullshit, and you feel like if you turn around, you're gonna literally get stabbed by anything. It's just like, dude, it's totally different. So, I don't know. That wasn't very appealing. I'm afraid, but it's letting you know that like I've been where you are, and I've been to the actual hell, and it's like so much. I don't want to do it again. To give you an idea, I'm like, there's not even a sub goal I can think of where I have to like redo Resident Evil 7 in VR. Like, I don't think I even want to do horror in VR, y'all. It's oh fuck, man, fuck.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Okay, but yeah, everyone check him out. Thank you again for joining today, MajinPhil. It's been a phenomenal job, fam.
Dude, this was really nice. I really hope we can do the like more casual.
Yeah. We're definitely doing the Yu-Gi-Oh! And Chill after party podcast or whatever we're gonna call it here. So look forward to that, y'all. Dude. Phil, tell everyone goodbye. Tell them you're out of here, bro.
Dude, thanks so much, guys. I'll see you if you stop by my stream. I'll see you later, and if not, have a good rest of your week. Thanks for listening.
There you go. All right, man. I'll catch you later, fam.
Later, bro. I'm outie.
Outie.